So, growing up in Louisiana, right, we had this neighbor, Mr. Thibodeau, who collected bottle caps like obsessively. He had them glued to his car, his house, even his dentures, I swear. But he always told me, Theo, boy, life's like a bottle cap, shiny and meaningless until you find the right bottle. And I never knew what that meant until I made this music video. See, because it all started with Seagal. Yeah, that's Steven Seagal, my sensei, the Aikido master, who's now like a Russian ambassador of beef bake or something. I wanted to honor him, even though the man looks like he's starring in a vodka commercial, you know? So we're there on set dancing for like 4.5 hours straight for an 80-second video. And let me tell you, those dancers are saints. They move like swamp angels, just grinding and shaking like it's nothing, while I'm out there looking like a confused crawfish in a hurricane, exhausted, everything hurting. But Seagal would be proud. I know he would. Plus, we needed Bert Kreischer, my buddy, to play a bigger version of himself, which is kind of redundant, like ordering a double cheeseburger with extra cheese. But we needed his face. See, so we tricked him, told him we were filming promos for our podcast, Two Bears, One Cave. And he just sat there making faces like a chimpanzee trying to understand algebra, and they weren't even recording the sound. Just the video, pure genius. He's like a golden retriever, just happy to be involved until he figured it out on the podcast. Pure gold. That moment was better than finding a 20 in your winter coat. But then came the fun part, killing Bert. And that wasn't even my idea. That was Rami, my director. He's like the Tarantino of comedy videos. He's like, why don't you stab him? And I'm all in. Then it escalated. Stab, handgun, shotgun, machine gun. I'm feeling like I'm in a Rambo movie directed by Mr. Rogers. And I swear, I'm not a violent person. I just love a good visual gag. You know, afterward, everyone was asking Theo, how much did this cost? Like I'm freaking Elon Musk with a crawfish accent. But Rami hooked me up friend rates. He's a real one. So it wasn't 6-figure, but it was more than Bert's therapy bill. I'll tell you that much. And to Bert, I gotta say I love you, man. It was fun, but let's be real, I can run faster, jump higher. I'm stronger, like a genetically modified otter. So, next time, bring your A game. Or maybe just bring some bottle caps, Mr.
So, Thibodeau would be proud. He'd probably glue him to a coffin or something.
Man, growing up in Tickfaw, Louisiana, population maybe 100 and a dog, life was simple, like cornbread and Shetland simple, I swear. I remember one time, me and little man, that's what we called him, because, well, he was little and a man we were catching crawfish down by the bayou, and this old lady, Miss Ethelyn, she comes strolling by with her chihuahua. Peaches dressed in a full-on Saints uniform, because that's just how Miss Ethelyn rolled, right? Anyway, Peaches starts barking at the crawfish. Miss Ethelyn starts yelling at Peaches. And I swear, little man just looks at me and says, Theo, sometimes I feel like we're living in a cartoon drawn by a squirrel on meth. And I was like, little man, you might be onto something, you know? It's like that's my whole childhood encapsulated right there. Weirdness, beauty, and a hint of existential dread.
Which brings me to this thing about respecting authority, because my mom, bless her heart, she had a way of teaching lessons that involved cussing, violence, and a healthy dose of Southern sass. See, I was a rambunctious kid, always running my mouth, always pushing boundaries, like a beagle chasing a mail truck. One time, my teacher, Miss Green, sent a note home saying I was acting a fool in class, which, let's be honest, was probably true. All right, so I was at this Waffle House down in Tickfaw, Louisiana, right? Place smells like regret and burnt coffee, you know, the vibe. And this lady, bless her heart, she orders the most expensive thing on the menu. It's like a lobster omelet with a side of gold flakes or something. I don't know, something ridiculous. And I'm thinking, man, this is Waffle House, not the goddamn Ritz. It's like bringing a Ferrari to a monster truck rally. Reminds me of this one time my cousin Earl tried to impress this girl by taking her to the fanciest burger joint in Ponchatoula. Spent his whole paycheck, and she ended up leaving with the dude driving a tractor. Turns out she was into that farm-to-table lifestyle, literally. And, you know, these waiters, they got to give you that little head nod that, are you sure you can afford this look, like they're protecting your bank account from yourself. Which got me thinking about women complaining about relationships. Always picking the wrong dudes. It's like ordering a steak and lobster when you know you're on a damn McDonald's budget, you know? If you keep attracting ain't shit dudes, maybe, just maybe,
There's something about your pussy that's broadcasting easy signal, like a moth to a busted ass porch light. It's time to take some responsibility, ladies, because no one want to hear complaints about this. It just feels like Michael Jackson being poor. You know, imagine MJ growing up in the projects, him and Tito riding around in a Cadillac looking for bad girls, Michael's on crack, and now suddenly get that the police, they didn't protect the black people, which it feels like an old Timex commercial for them. But it is all right if the brother gets paid, like Ike Turner did as the king of the Wolverbeater before O.J. Simpson taking that crown. But when O.J. was innocent in the eyes of Johnny Cochran, those white people who couldn't sleep because of the verdict, it's like black people getting insomnia since the slavery. Now you hear something like that, you just want to yell out, fuck the police, while driving 300 miles an hour in a Volkswagen because Lorena Bobbitt cutting off her husband's member, driving down the freeway and throwing it out the window is justice too, and with the LA Police Department searching for O.J. Simpson, you're thinking it is the justice system that is not working. It's all connected, man, like dominoes falling after a crawfish boil. So there I was back in Louisiana, right? And my buddy Dale, bless his heart, he's got this theory about lubes. You see, he reckons women got a secret stash, squirrel hiding nuts for winter, but it's KY jelly, man, just waiting for the opportune moment to unleash it. Sneaky like a gator in the swamp, and it all ties into this whole nasty thing because Dale says women got this unlimited supply of it, like bottomless crawfish etouffee, but men were running on fumes, you dig? We start out all fired up, thinking we're going to reinvent the wheel and maybe even mount a brick on the gas pedal and let the car ghost ride while we're out there buck naked, just pure unadulterated Louisiana crazy. But then reality hits like a mosquito the size of a damn hummingbird, and suddenly we're reaching for the blow dryer, trying to figure out how to spice things up because the imagination wells run dry, emptier than a church on Saturday night, and you're thinking, Lord, maybe the cat and the dog can settle this argument, because that's how far gone we get, just grasping at straws, you feel me? Which brings me to this whole double date thing. See, it's a competition, plain and simple, like two roosters in a chicken coop, one little kiss and bam, it's on. She's looking at you like you owe her a damn diamond ring. And the only way to win is to go full tilt boogie, which, let's be honest, ain't always the best course of action, because women, they talk, they share, they dissect. It's like a goddamn autopsy on your relationship, and next thing you know, at least I don't eat ass is flying across the table like a stray firework, and you're sitting there with the U8 ass face contemplating your life choices, wondering how you ended up in this godforsaken mess, wishing you could just disappear into the nearest plate of jambalaya. And then there's Ray, bless his heart, always with the damn resume. I got 3 movies coming out, they all hot, like I give a damn what time it is, D. Ray, I just want to know the time. And then Harry, man, don't even get me started on Harry. He's got more tats than teeth and a whole lot of attitude, telling people not to touch him unless they want to see his other 6 tattoos that represent, I'm not going to say what, but let's just say it involves a dirt nap. All this just to tell you, even though I'm like a Kevin Hart of the South, there is always someone who believes he has more bodies ready to get stacked. So just remember to be kind and tell the crazy man he's looking good, and then slowly back away. Oh, and hide your ass.
Then growing up in Louisiana, you see some things. Like, remember old Clem used to wrestle gators down by the bayou, claimed he could whisper sweet nothings to him, but I swear I saw him bribe him with day-old donuts. Anyways, it reminds me of this time. See, I'm feeling myself, right? Thought I was all that in a bag of Zapp's potato chips. So this dude, he puts his hands on my face like he knows me, and I'm like, hold on, partner, we ain't that close, you hear? But then I see at the stance the crazy eyes like a possum cornered in a Walmart parking lot. I'm thinking, Kev, you're about to get socked. Better throw that haymaker. So bam, right in the kisser. Never punched a man in the face before. Felt like winning the lottery and losing your teeth all at once. So I'm hyped, celebrating like I just won a crawfish eating contest. All, yeah, bitch, you don't want none of this. Feeling like a real OG, you know, but then reality hits you like a catfish to the face. Jail time, 1 bed, 1 blanket. Suddenly you're offering bedtime stories, but then he tackles me mid-speech like a linebacker going after a toddler. I'm thinking, bro, I'm tiny. I got a low center of gravity like a bowling pin. I ain't going down easy, so I start uppercutting him, giving him the old Louisiana shuffle. He's losing, starts yelling for Thomas, his security guard, and Wayne, my security. This big old fella got Thomas pinned against the wall.
Looked like he was trying to teach him the electric slide. I couldn't tell if Wayne was helping me or just enjoying a good squeeze. Didn't ask, didn't want to know. So then it hits me, Dallas, Texas. Getting arrested here is like ending up in a Nickelback concert. Ain't getting out till Tuesday. Gotta get out of here. Nate, my driver, bless his heart, he was OG. All right, gets the car, puts it on the curb, blocking everything. Never seen him so hyped, like he's directing a bank robbery, telling people to stuff my head down so the cops don't see. That's when I realized Nate probably used to be a hitman or something. Then he snaps at me saying, Kevin, you got a career, movies, TV, you're throwing it all away for a street fight. Like I just bought a fidget spinner at a pawn shop. Then he's back to yelling about cops. We gotta go, but it's too late. We get locked up right there. Cleveland, I love y'all. Good night. And that's how I ended up sharing a cell with a dude who thought he was a heater on me.
All right, folks, let me tell you something. Growing up back in Louisiana, we had this rooster, right? Meanest son of a gun you ever did see. Named him Secretary because he pecked at everything. Even the postman picture that a rooster hating on official mail delivery makes about as much sense as kale smoothies. Anyway, that rooster was a jerk, just like my luck on the road sometimes. 8 years back, I was a youngin' hitting the sauce a little too hard. Stand up in Seattle, trying to woo a girl, but her friend, oh Lord. Every 30 seconds, not interested, then she could do better. Escalating like a bad banjo solo until she drops the bomb. You're very unattractive, and me drunk, I blurt out, get some more Botox, you lizard. Feel bad about that now. Real bad, although truth be told in the moment. Nailed it like shooting a crawdad in a barrel. But she got furious. Or at least I think she did. Botox makes it hard to tell. You know? Then her boyfriend pops me one, deserved it, she was his lizard. And I respected the loyalty. Like a hound dog sticking with its owner, even if the owner's wearing Crocs, foreshadowing though. A month later, Cleveland, Ohio, LeBron had just left. City felt like everyone had just found out their chew toy had been recalled. Whole dang economic plan hitched to one dude, 'cause I love Cleveland. Good folks met this older woman after the show. Firecracker, but she's with a dude, just a friend. Valentine's Day though, so you know there's tension thick enough to spread on toast. He's buying me drinks to keep tabs. Me being the kind of guy who'd accept free gas even if it came from a skunk's tank, dude. Goes to the bathroom, I ask her if she wants to ditch, she says yes. And my escape plan. The bar next door. Genius. Pure genius, about as subtle as a herd of water buffalo in a library. We're doing making out. Romantic as a truck stop restroom. Finally ask her if she wants to leave, she says your hotel. So we step outside, and there's the dude missing teeth, looking like he'd wrestled a badger for a biscuit and lost. Where the fuck do you think you're going? I admit the plan. Gonna bang her and fly back to New York, he says. Fight me first. Suddenly those teeth looking mighty important. I ain't no dummy, ain't ever had sex and thought, man, glad she ain't got teeth. Like who needs applesauce? I go into the hotel, grab me a Macintosh. I tell him I ain't gonna fight. He calls me a pussy. Then she leaves with him. Some weird arrangement, and then this dude in a white sweatsuit like a marshmallow peep escaped from Easter. Not sittin', not standin', just kinda perched. Loudly announces, I wasn't gonna let anything happen to you. Claims he polices this. Not a cop, but a vigilante. The white knight drunk me's like, hell yeah, this guy's legit with a name, protects downtown Cleveland. Been stabbed twice, does it 'cause he loves Cleveland. Crazy but loyal, like a squirrel trying to bury a nut in concrete. Horrible trade for LeBron, but loyalty, you know? We stroll past the club, he sees my poster, says he could never do comedy. I say I could never do illegal and strange and alarming. A mutual admiration society asks why I don't have a Valentine. I say life choices and career. He says, me too. We're practically twins. Just one wears pajamas and the other tells dick jokes. He walks me back, says he's coming to the show. Exchanges information 'cause you gotta network even with superheroes. Wake up next morning, hangover the size of Texas. White knight email, gotta be him. Don't know that many, says he can't make the show. Sincerely, your new friend and fan, the White Knight Joshua. Makes me happy. Jews underrepresented as superheroes. Like finding a vegetarian at a barbecue. Emails bounce back, he's like Batman disappearing into the shadows via email. Years pass, then bam. Another email. White Knight subject line. I reply, saw you on Conan, he's still out there. Then comes the kicker. He's married with a kid. Living in the suburbs. Traded white knighting for minivans. And soccer practice. Traitor. I tell him I'm in Naples. He says Italy. I say, yeah, guess even superheroes gotta grow up and face the fact that sometimes the real battle is getting the kids to eat their dang vegetables. Ain't that the truth? All right. Now, so boom, let me tell you something. Grew up down in Little Ranger, all right? Smallest town you ever did see. Except maybe for that time I saw a cat here in a tiny cowboy hat. in a dollhouse. Smaller than that even. And there was this fella, Billy Bob, no relation to Thornton's or whatnot. But this Billy Bob thought he was Bruce Lee, even though he looked more like a possum trying to do the splits. Anyway, Billy Bob was all about martial arts, always saying it was the only way to know which style was the real deal. Like figuring out if Tabasco sauce really goes on ice cream. Some things you just got to try.
And he'd go on about how they need a place where folks can use anything, everything, fists, feet, headbutts, elbows, even beating if that's your thing, because kind of real fight, there ain't no rules except maybe don't poke a fella in the eye with a dirty stick. It's kind of like them UFC fights, right? Bloodiest, most barbaric thing ever, but also kind of honest, like seeing a politician eating a corn dog. You get a real good sense of what they're about. So Billy Bob always said he designed this arena, an octagon, so no one could run away, because when you're getting your butt whooped, sometimes you just want to bounce, like when you accidentally walk into a family reunion full of folks you ain't seen since you had that unfortunate mullet.
All right, so picture this. I was back home, right, in Louisiana, where the dirt roads outnumber the paved ones 2-1. Kind of like how my cousins outnumber teeth in their collective mouths. And I was hanging out with my buddy Earl. Now Earl, bless his heart, he's got the kind of dedication that'd make a honey badger jealous. Except instead of digging for grubs, Earl's dedicated to, well, Vaseline. Yeah, Vaseline. But not just for chapped lips during crawfish season, no sir. Earl used to store Vaseline in his navel. I'm talking a dedicated dollop of petroleum jelly tucked away in his belly button like it was Fort Knox. He said it kept his big lips, his actual physical lips, from looking like a bottomless pit. Which, let's be honest, they kind of did. Like a black hole swallowing all the lip balm in the state. And that reminds me of what Kevin Hart said about Shaq shaped like a beanbag, like a whole dang satin beanbag. But see, Earl's got this theory, this greasy little theory, that Vaseline is the key to everything, the secret ingredient, the WD-40 of life. And that's when it hit me, you know, like a mosquito on a humid summer night. These basketball players are out here chasing career highs, talking about keys to success, blocks, assists, points, all that jazz. And Joel says the key is Earl's Vaseline navel. And you're just standing there with a blob of Vaseline, and this makes me thinking about what Kevin Hart said, how Wade lifts and buries, about Klay Thompson feeling pretty. I swear the way these athletes carry on, it's like a bunch of squirrels fighting over a single acorn. It's kind of like that time I tried to teach my grandma how to use the internet. She ended up ordering a life-size cardboard cutout of Burt Reynolds and started calling him her digital boyfriend. But you know, underneath all the sweat and Vaseline and post-game interviews about team, there's a real desire for something more, something real, something like what Ernest said won't go through. He'll flunk the physical, something beyond the game. Kind of like Earl's obsession with keeping his lips hydrated. It's a quest for something real in a world that's mostly just a whole lot of hot air and maybe, just maybe, a little too much Vaseline.
All right. Settle down now, folks. Let me tell you something. Grew up in a town so small, the church picnic was the biggest news of the year. Used to be this fella, Cletus, bless his heart, he thought he was a squirrel. Not like, oh, I like acorns, but full-on tree climbing, nut hoarding kind of squirrel. One time, Cletus tried to bury me alive in a pile of leaves because he said I was a rival nut gatherer. That's when I learned, folks, life's a whole lot like a possum in a grocery store parking lot. You never know what kind of mess you're going to get into. Which brings me to John Mulaney. Remember that guy? Emmy winner, Netflix star to the whole shebang. He's playing Madison Square Garden, for crying out loud. But see, Seth Meyers, that sneaky devil, he's got to grill him about his outfits. Mulaney walks out looking like he just wrestled a bear and lost, and Myers is all, where's the suit, Johnny boy? It's like confronting a raccoon for eating your garbage. You know it's wrong, but you secretly admire the audacity. But apparently some folks intervened on Mulaney a while back, said his life was spiraling. And I ain't one to judge. Everyone's got their own brand of crazy, but it just seems a tad extreme to critique a man's fashion sense while he's, you know, dealing with stuff. Myers wants him in a suit, says he looks like he raided the Gap after a bad date. It's like saying a dog wearing pants is civilized, but it's still going to sniff your crotch, ain't it? Mulaney's like, fine, I'll put on the suit, but you ain't taking me to no fancy tailor. He figures Myers should have had a car waiting, ready to whisk him away for a 2-month fitting. Imagine that, Mulaney, trapped in a tailor shop, surrounded by pins and fabrics like a hummingbird in a butterfly net. Then Myers starts miking the jacket real serious, like reminiscing about that talk show he co-hosted where apparently they were Saris in bad dress, and that's, man. Picking on a man's wardrobe is like kicking a pregnant mule, just ain't right. Mulaney, looking like a hostage in a department store mannequin's outfit, says he feels happier. Myers throws in a tie because, you know, television demands conformity. It's like putting a hat on a chicken. It doesn't make it any smarter, just funnier to look at. Then they get to fatherhood.
Mulaney's got a 7-month-old Malcolm, apparently a connoisseur of self-inflicted selfie videos. He also claims the kid got him gifts for Father's Day, and that Malcolm insisted he wears a damn suit to 30 Rock. Kids these days are getting bossy. Myers tries to relate, mentions his own baby, then they hit the formula shortage. Oh, Lord, that's when things get real. Mulaney, channeling his inner drug dealer, admits his old instincts kicked in. Fake driver's licenses, Mr. Mustache disguise pretending to be an old Vietnamese lady, all for baby Fago. It's like watching a penguin try to climb a ladder, you know, it's not going to work, but you can't help but admire the effort. And the Amazon stuff, shady as that is, as car salesman's handshake, Mulaney actually tasted the formula to make sure it was the real deal. Now that, folks, that's dedication. It's the kind of parenting that makes you wonder what's next. Maybe teaching the kid how to hotwire a car to get to the diaper aisle faster. It just goes to show whether you're wrestling bears, getting fashion advice from Seth Meyers, or navigating the baby formula black market. Life's a wild ride, and sometimes all you can do is dip your finger in and hope it's the real enzyme, you know what I'm saying? All right, so check this out. Reminds me of my cousin Billy Ray, bless his heart, used to say just turned sweet 16 about his prize-winning hog at the county fair. Now Billy Ray, he wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed. Kind of like this fella right here, mentioning the girl's age, like it's a limited time offer at Arby's, which brings me to this whole age thing in life. How everyone's always got an expiration date slapped on them, especially in this business. You get past 30 and suddenly you're antique furniture. Got to dust yourself off before every gig, you know? Like I was talking to my buddy Earl the other day. Earl swears he's Benjamin Buttoning. Getting younger every year, says he started using this snake oil from a traveling salesman. Smells like old gym socks and regret, but Earl, he's convinced it's the fountain of youth, which is probably what this young fella thinks he's got with the fresh out the oven girlfriend. Forgetting that life's a microwave, and sooner or later, everything gets reheated and ends up tasting kind of rubbery, just like Earl's snake oil. Promise, honestly, probably most of our dating lives. All ending up with us wondering if maybe we should have just stuck with the hog at the county fair. Least then you know what you're getting. You know, maybe just stick with the mac and cheese and avoid the trouble altogether. Man, back in Shreveport, we had this drinking crew, real deal redneck poetry slam. You know, me, Mark, Sam, and this dude Soder, who looked like if a scarecrow and a golden retriever had a baby. And then there was Nate, bless his heart. Nate could only book gigs at this place near Broadway, like the armpit of the New York comedy scene. They call it the world. Like a Walmart greeter directing you to enlightenment, and he'd be doing unpaid sets at 11 p.m. while they're charging cover. This is like prehistoric comedy days, like finding a fossilized microphone. And this is before Soder was selling out stadiums. Wild, right? Anyway, the world was basically the Broadway comedy club's ugly stepsister. Like they'd be advertising Dave Chappelle's here tonight, knowing full well Dave was probably at home eating a gourmet grilled cheese. And one time I swear they tried to pitch me Tina Fey was going to do stand-up. Like, who are you trying to fool? You think she just ditches 30 Rock for this? And the mural on the wall was like a fever dream painted by someone on Bad Shrimp. But the real kicker, they served fake alcohol, like the kind made from corn syrup they sell near schools, because they don't have a real liquor license. It's like trying to get drunk off communion wine, which, thinking about it, is probably worse. And it was 12% strength. You know, order a vodka tonic and you're basically getting a grape soda with a buzz. I even got spat on at that joint, like full-on loogie warfare. I was roasting this dude in the front row. Felt like I was talking to a donkey, and he just lets loose, right on my chest. But bless those sassy Hispanic waitresses. They jumped in front of me like I was El Chapo. They were ready to throw down. And Chris Murphy, the man's a saint. He walked me out like I was fragile, said he's waiting for you, pal. And the first threesome I ever had was a direct result of getting spat on, though. 2 girls in Philly saw what happened, said, screw that guy. Come on, let's go drink. So we went out drinking, had a threesome. The details aren't fit for conversation, but you get the idea. It was a different kind of spitting story, let's just say. And my cousin, he's a simple guy. He says, you left with those 2 chicks? I said, yeah. And he says, I gotta start getting spat on more often. That's when you know you had a good night. You know, when even getting assaulted turns into a win. Like finding a $20 bill in your old jeans, only it's covered in saliva and questionable life choices. All right, folks, let me tell you about my Uncle Earl. Bless his heart, used to collect dryer lint, right? Not just any lint, mind you. Earl only collected lint from his underender, said it was like harvesting tiny, fluffy memories of his day, you know? Anyways, Uncle Earl, God rest his soul, he'd always say,
Theo, life's like a lint trap, catching all the weird stuff. But it's what you do with that weirdness that matters, and Lord have mercy, he was right. That brings me to Joe Biden, bless his heart. Old Sleepy Joe seems like he's collecting weird moments like my Uncle Earl collected lint, you know? Just piles them up. See him with Greta Thunberg? I'm predicting awkwardness so thick you could spread it on a biscuit, that's a fact. He'll be whispering sweet nothings about the ozone layer. She'll be glaring like he just single-handedly melted the North Pole. It'll be a YouTube goldmine mirror. I'm telling you. And Asians, now there's a group, y'all. Smartest folks on God's green earth. They're building iPhones while the rest of us are arguing about politics on Facebook. That's a fact. I'm practically an Asian supremacist, if that's a thing. I ain't hating on nobody, but them Asians are just out there hustling. They deserve a little credit. Except I saw a fellow on Twitter saying racist stuff to Asians on his iPhone, and I was like, hold on, at least have some respect for where that stuff comes from. You're right there next to the damn children making the electronics. It's like being circumcised and then complaining about the doctors. I'm telling you, folks, that's the kind of respect that we need in this country. Man, let me tell you something. I get riled up faster than a hound dog chasing a possum up a sycamore tree. It ain't even funny. Like, tiny stuff sets me off. And I ain't talking about global warming or nothing political. Nah, I'm talking about straight up primal disgust. You ever see somebody eating and sweating at the same dang time? I'm talking like barbecue ribs, back porch 98 degrees, just dripping and chomping. I want to throat punch them. I swear to biscuits, slow down, Earl. Ain't nobody gonna snatch that half-eaten rib out of your greasy mitt. What's the fire? But all right, that ain't even the main vein of my irritation. No, sir, it's deeper than that. Recently, I've come to this realization, and y'all might not like it, but I ain't sugarcoating nothing for nobody. I ain't got no patience for folks who ain't blessed with the looks. I said it. It's out there. Hang with me now. Don't go throwing tomatoes just yet. See, it ain't about being shallow. It's about the neediness, the constant excuse me. Where's the bathroom? Can you help me with this? Like, I want to treat them like stray cats. Get out of here. Go on scram. It's just too much, too damn much. Let me paint the picture so you don't think I'm just some backwoods monster. I'm at the bank, right? Normal Tuesday, pulling out of the parking lot. Got to stop at that little booth, give the fella my ticket. So this dude, bless his heart, slides open the glass, leans out, and this fella could curdle milk with his gaze. But when he sees me, Theo Von, he just lights up like a Christmas tree, practically drooling all over his ugly mug, all up in my face like Kevin Hart running the drive-thru. And he's, I ain't letting you out of here till you tell me why you chose us, why you bank with the us. I'm thinking, bro, I got crawfish to boil. I ain't got time for your existential crisis. But he's serious, dead serious, staring right through me. So I say, fine, customer service, loan rate, free check in there, happy now? And this is where I almost lost it. He goes, that's all you had to say with your little ugly ass. I said, did you just call me ugly? And he hits the button and I'm gone, fuming. I'm at Chipotle 2 blocks down, lines wrapped around the building, all because of this troll booth encounter. So I'm standing there ready to explode. And this woman behind me says, all sunshine and rainbows. Oh, it's such a beautiful day. I'm about to lose my damn mind, turn around and unload the whole clip. But then I see her. This woman could launch 1,000 ships. I mean, straight up goddess. And suddenly I got all the time in the world. I'm Miss Rogers. You know what? It is a nice day. We need some rain though. Haven't had rain in a minute. And she just turns around and says, I wasn't even talking to you. Oh, hell no. Excuse me. I just got to know what made you choose Chipotle today. Silent. Then she says, I'm not telling you that, immediately making me realize I was the unattractive person in that conversation. And I know y'all probably ain't gonna like hearing this, but I'm telling you, no matter how good you think you look, you probably don't look that good. And the universe will remind you, like my wife, we were watching TV. That little golem monster from Lord of the Rings comes on all twitchy and weird, and she says, oh my god, babe, you do that? I said, bitch, what did you just say to me? Calling me a monster to my face? Is this how you treat people in this house? So I get it now. We're all just Smeagol trying to find his precious, even the beautiful ones, and probably especially the ones who work the bank booth. All right. So let me tell you something about growing up in the bayou. See, we had this pet raccoon, right? Named him Earl, because he looked like my Uncle Earl after a crawfish boil, all red-faced and kind of sideways. Anyway, Earl, bless his heart, he was dumber than a box of rocks, but he knew one thing, survival. And that reminds me, I saw this lady up front here sleeping like a possum in a sunbeam, and it just hit me. We're all just trying to survive, ain't we? Like, this guy's trying to get his wife a Mai Tai for her birthday, bless his heart, and she's out cold, probably dreaming about saving lives at the hospital, because she's a nurse tech, a real-life superhero, you know? And nurses, man, they're like cops. They deserve to unwind, get a little goofy. because they see some crazy stuff that would turn your hair white faster than a skunk at a Klan rally. But see, here's the thing, right? Everyone, and I mean everyone, gets a little cranky when they're hungry or sleepy. It's a universal truth, like gravity or the fact that grits are delicious. But my grandma used to say, a fed woman is a happy woman, and that's probably why my grandpa kept a jar of pickled okra in his pocket at all times, in case. So maybe this lady ain't cranky. Maybe she's just waiting for a man to finish telling this story, because let's be honest, a good story is like a warm hug on a cold day, or a perfectly fried catfish sandwich with extra tartar sauce. It just hits the spot, you know? And hey, if a little heckling makes it better, then bring it on, baby, because I'm just here to entertain like a banjo-playing monkey at a county fair. Weird, maybe a little offensive, but you won't forget it anytime soon. Well, hey there, folks. Let me tell you, a couple weeks back, my email got hacked, which honestly felt like getting invited to a fancy party because I'm terrible at keeping in touch. So suddenly sending a spam link to everyone I know felt like my civic duty, my annual Christmas card, if you will. And bless their hearts, they all wrote back like I just birthed triplets, all screaming, "Didn't know your cyber uterus is bleeding viruses. Brought us closer than a Tupperware party after a tornado." And then this one fella, bless his simple soul, emails me, says, "Theo, buddy, clicked your link, but I ain't in the market for no herbal Viagra." And this ain't no comedian, folks. This is pure unadulterated West Virginia logic after 17 years of friendship. And it got me thinking, first off, who in God's green earth still clicks a spam link that looks like a $, had a baby with a swastika, and named it malware? I'm talking, if HPV was a website, this was it. But no, he saw that blank email, subject line, reading, "Check this out," which, let's be honest, I ain't ever uttered in my life, and thought, all right, Theo's peddling snake oil, which is insulting, because if I was going to shill herbal Viagra to my entire contact list, it wouldn't be a 2-column email blast. I'd craft a goddamn novel, something like Dear Friends, Famlin, Folks I Met at That All-Night Waffle House in '09, Comedy's Gone South, and My Cayman Island Business Partners. And I have concocted a miracle cure for bedroom blues. Click the swastika for the world's ugliest website, pink on purple, just how we like it. See, gotta sell the dream, you know. Anyway, turned 30 recently, watching movies different now. Used to root for the hero, now I'm vibing with the side characters, the ones rolling their eyes like, oh great, another Spider-Man, feeling like I'm watching a squirrel try to parallel park. Reminds me of Michael J. Fox in Back to the Future. That was my jam. Wanted to be Marty McFly, but watch that movie again. And it's wild, this 17-year-old kid's best friend is a disgraced nuclear physicist, and nobody bats an eye. We're all just like, yup, checks out. Like seeing a cat driving a track. That movie is bananas. Imagine pitching that in a studio. Like, all right, family action movie. Lazy high school kid. Sleeps in. But get this. His best friend's a disgraced nuclear physicist. No, not a student. A 40-year-old weirdo. And the studio execs nod. Okay. They build a time machine. Stop the Kennedy assassination. And you gotta swallow your pride. Say, nah man. He goes back in time. Tries to hook up with his mom. Watch their faces. But don't worry, Biff shows up, tries to assault her, Dad saves the day, and we're saying a white guy wrote Johnny B. Good, and some head green like that. That's Hollywood, folks, like a raccoon running a bank. Only in America they ask if it's Back to the Past, but you gotta stick to your guns. No, Back to the Future, 'cause only in a movie can you have a disgraced nuclear physicist and a horny time-traveling teenager in the same frame. It's like a fever dream in a can. Like putting ketchup on grits, just plain wrong but undeniably entertaining. And people ask me if I smoke marijuana. I tell I don't need another reason to crave Cheetos. I already crave Cheetos like a dog chases a mail truck. You ever see a dude hit on a girl by yelling at her through a crowd? Hey, you with the tits, move it, losers. I'm Grados. That's the world we live in, folks. A world where disgraced nuclear physicists are best friends with horny teenagers, and Greg yells at women from across the room. Bless their hearts. Man, bikes, I don't know why, but sometimes I get these little verbal hiccups, not like Tourette's. Now, I always thought that'd be kind of wild, just yelling out random stuff. Imagine the conversations, but nah, it's just bikes, plain old bikes. It just pops into my head like a bad country song, stuck on repeat, playing in the honky-tonk of my brain, over and over, probably millions of times by now. But see, it all comes back to this one show, Scared Straight. You ever catch that train wreck? Pure gold. Let me tell you,
They grab these little hellions, middle and high schoolers, the ones who think detention is a 5-star resort, and they toss them into the slammer for a day, hoping a little taste of the big house will straighten their twisted little minds. Like a backwoods chiropractor, but hold on to your britches. 'Cause there's this one episode aired back in '99, uncensored, which is just straight up bananas. And instead of your run-of-the-mill county jail, they ship these little demons off to a maximum security penitentiary where the inmates just verbally unleash hell on these kids, turning them into weepy little puddles, and it's the darn funniest thing I've ever seen. Now don't go feeling too sorry for 'em. These ain't your average spitball shooting choir boys. These are kids who think shanks are just fancy toothpicks. Tough little bastards, walking in with all the swagger of a rooster in a henhouse. Like, what's up? I ain't scared, but then comes crazy Chris, face looking like a roadmap of bad decisions. And the screen freezes. Tells you Chris has offed 6 folks and is doing double life. This dude's so bad. When he dies, his next life is doing time too. And Chris gets up in their grill, says, "You'll see me in your nightmares." And these kids, barely teenagers, are like, "Whoa, dude, chill." But he ain't done. He says, "If I see you again, I'll take a bite out of each of you." And they're practically signing up for Sunday school right then and there. But then comes the next guy, walks up and says, "Hold my pocket." Makes him walk around, hold me inside of his pocket. Now, I don't know what you know about prison, but holding another dude's pocket is like wearing a neon sign that says, "Kick me." And this ain't just about the pocket hold. He's spouting the most ungodly things at these kids. Talking about breakfast and stuff you can't say on TV, like he's running a twisted Lil Abner comic strip in their heads. There's this one kid, all of 13, looking like a dandelion in a hurricane. Bowl cut parted right down the middle like a dirt road. And this prisoner asks him why he's there. And the kid mumbles, "Stealing." And the prisoner leans in, all menacing. "The fuck you took." And the kid squeaks out, "Bikes." And the prisoner just booms, "Bikes," and that's it. That's why I yell bikes. See a bike store, holy moly, it's like a primal scream therapy session in my Honda. My wife's about had it. She just sighs and says, "You get one." So I gotta make it count. I pull over, roll down the window, wait for some poor soul to be checking out the sidewalk display, gazing at some shiny new Schwinn. And when they find the one, the light hits it just right, they're about to make a move. I unleash the beast, bite, I yell, and they jump back like they seen a ghost. Then I add for good measure, "Stop selling drugs," and I peel out of there, leaving them standing there, wondering if they just stepped into some kind of backwoods fever dream. Kinda like this whole story, ain't it? All right. All right. Settle down, folks. Let me tell you something. Grew up in Louisiana. See, around these guys who thought camouflage was formal wear, you know? I had this buddy, Earl. Sweetest guy, but dumber than a box of rocks. One time, Earl swore he saw Bigfoot riding a lawnmower down by the bayou. Swear to God. Earl believed anything. But you know what Earl wouldn't believe? Crime documentaries. Nah, he'd rather watch squirrels fight over a pecan. Yeah, I love him. Always have. Even had a date once. Beautiful girl. Real sweet until she dropped the bomb that her daddy was all over the John Benet Ramsey case. I swear I forgot all about the date. Just peppered her with questions about the case. Poor girl probably thought I was a weirdo. No second date, naturally. Always wanted to solve a crime, though felt like my calling, kind of like how Earl felt about Bigfoot. So a few months back, I'm home from touring, recreating from shaking hands and pretending to care about other people's problems. I go outside and my rave for, blessed be its name. It's been violated. Not like a Gone Girl situation, but still, someone had rummaged through it. And get this, they left a hat, a freaking baseball cap. Aha! I yell like I'm finally catching a greased pig at the county fair. I'd been burglarized before, but this was evidence. So I run inside, grab my surgical gloves. Yeah, I own surgical gloves, don't judge. And a Ziploc bag. Dimmered something about Dennis Fong messing up the DNA in the OJ case because it got too warm. I wasn't going to be no Dennis Fong ruining evidence with the California sunshine. I carefully bagged that hat, CSI style, even though my car's interior looks like a hobo's backpack after a tornado. Then I stuck that sucker in the fridge, right next to the wilting lettuce, and my wife's leftover quinoa salad she keeps telling me is good. called the LAPD, stood out front like Deputy Fife, waiting for the cavalry, thinking, don't worry, fellas, Vaughn's on the case. They show up, these two cops looking like they'd rather be eating donuts, ask, what's the situation? I tell them about the break-in. They ask if the window was broken. I told them, nah, I leave it unlocked now because these LA thugs gonna bust a window if I don't. And that's just rude. So they ask what was stolen, and I told them I have no earthly idea what's in my car. It's basically a rotating museum of forgotten sunglasses, old snack wrappers, and my wife's collection of crystals she swear keeps the demons away, but I suspect mostly collects dust under the seat. I say, but this time we gotta break in the case. I led them inside like I'm leading tourists through a creepy haunted house, pulled out the hat like I'm present in the Mona Lisa. He left his hat, I exclaim. Yeah. They're like, okay. I ask if they can run it through CODIS, like on Law & Order. Get a hit on the perp. They look at me like I'm speaking Swahili. Why would we do that, they ask. I'm floored, because he committed a crime. They were like, barely. You left the car open, nothing was stolen, maybe trespassing, but we ain't running no national DNA search over that. I was flabbergasted. Then like a bolt of lightning hitting a cow pasture hit me. I told them, you can frame it as the guy gave you a hat. A thoughtful yet misguided gift from a budding criminal. I am real glass half full type guy, you see. They still didn't budge. Full. I told them, look, this could escalate. It's a there for tomorrow it's an escalade. Then a whole HOA community watch group is dead in the ditch. But I say, you know, Manson, and I don't like to speak ill of the dead, but he was a lousy guy, right? He started small, creeping around people's houses. Then he got big ideas. So I ask, don't you want this guy's DNA on file before he graduates from petty theft to start a podcast about murdering people in his basement? They were like, what file? What are you talking about? And I said, the one where you keep the DNA of potential murderers. They said the only way they'd need his DNA profile is if, and I jumped in, if he murders somebody. And then I remembered that sometimes serial killers like to help the police, you know? So I just kept talking about this guy in the third person like he was some kind of criminal mastermind. He's cunning, I said, but he will be back. Then I remembered my friend down the street. Her car got broken into too. I told the cops, go talk to her. Tell her to say something was stolen just to get that hat back in the national system. Which apparently is framing someone for a crime. But hey, I'm willing to bend the rules to get these guys behind bars. So if you're out there, car thief, know this, you messed with the wrong RAV4. You'll quickly realize I have no valuables, maybe some spare beef jerky and a lot of regret for ordering that weird coffee from the airport and a bunch of dirt on the carpet. Oh, and that's my dirt. So folks, that's the story of how I almost became a forensic genius. But hey, at least I got a good story out of it. And speaking of good stories, Big Mouth is back. It's based on Nick Kroll and Andrew Goldberg's friendship, and it's fantastic. I get to voice Andrew alongside my very good friend Nick Kroll. It's a fantastic show, and I'm excited to announce its second season. Yeah, all right, so there I was back in Louisiana, probably chasing a squirrel or something, you know, just living that bayou life, and I overhear this gal telling a story all hushed-like about some fella, right? She's saying he's yelling, she's saying she don't know how he feels, typical Tuesday, but then bam, she's changing the subject, asking him questions, trying to be all empathetic, see? Now, I'm sitting there 6 beers deep thinking this is just another sob story, you know, like when my Uncle Earl lost his dentures in the crawfish pond. Sad, but you move on. But then, this lady drops a bomb, the fella only got one leg. One leg, y'all. That's like trying to ride a unicycle in a hurricane. It just ain't gonna happen smooth. And that's when it hits me. This gal was hiding the leg situation. Like she was trying to sell a used car with a busted engine, just glossing over the details, you know? Suddenly, I'm picturing this poor dude back at his place, and I ain't gonna lie, my brain went to a dark place, like one of them back roads you ain't supposed to drive down after midnight. I started thinking about the logistics, if you catch my drift, like that's extra room, like them suicide doors on a Lincoln Continental, you just move the stump, bam, instant access. I felt terrible, y'all. Like I just kicked a puppy, so I tried to apologize, buy him a Bud Light, but he just huffed, stood up on his crutch, and hopped off, probably to go think about life and stuff, you know? But hold on, this ain't all doom and gloom, because later on, back in college, and not too long after the crutch incident, as I call it, I was at a Jello wrestling party, because that's the kind of sophisticated stuff they do in Louisiana. And this dude comes up to me on the staircase out of nowhere, and he's all, hey, Aren't you in my physics class? And I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed, especially after a few rounds of Jell-O. So I was like, I don't know, maybe. Turns out we were in physics together, but I was too busy trying not to get slimed to notice, so we start sitting together. He's a nice guy, kind of smart and good shape, likes to party.
All right, so I was back home in Louisiana last week, right? And my cousin Earl, bless his heart, he's got this whole thing about wasps. Like he's convinced they're government drones or something. So he's out there with a badminton racket swinging like he's playing Wimbledon against the deep state. And he says to me, he goes, Theo, you got to get wasp spray. It's the ultimate defense. Now, Earl's a good dude, but he also believes Bigfoot's running a meth lab in the Washington National Forest. So I take his advice with a grain of that pink Himalayan salt, you know, the kind that rich folks think makes their water taste better, but it's really just salt anyway. This whole wasp spray thing, it reminds me of that time I saw a dude try to rob a convenience store with a rubber chicken, thought he was being all sneaky, but the cashier just started laughing. Point is, some things just ain't gonna work, like Earl's wasp killing strategy or trying to pay your taxes with Monopoly money. See, that's how this whole sex offender situation is. People think, oh, I'll just blast him with wasp spray, that'll teach him. But hold on there, Skippy, that stuff's for wasps, and even then, Earl ain't had much luck. Plus, you're going to end up in court with some lawyer charges by the nanosecond, arguing about whether you were defending yourself or just trying to reenact a scene from Honey, I Shrunk the Kid. Pepper spray. That's the real deal. It's like the difference between a rusty butter knife and a ninja sword. One's going to get the job done. The other's going to leave you looking like a fool and about taking care of business yourself. That's like trying to fix your own car engine after watching one YouTube video. You might think you know what you're doing, but you're probably just going to make things worse. Wear gloves, a mask. That's smart, like wearing a condom to a disco. You're prepared for anything. And this whole shake weight thing, I mean, come on, that's like bringing a spork to a steakhouse. It ain't gonna cut it. Semen's a biohazard. Yeah, that'll get someone's attention, like telling a vegetarian he's about to eat a plate of bacon-wrapped scallops, but honestly, do your thing in your own space, just not in front of the ladies and children. It's like playing the banjo naked on a trampoline. Fun for you maybe, but not a sight for anyone else to see. But don't be ridiculous or anything.
Lucy, Kukshan Trichiljo for an for API.
Man, growing up in Loranger, Louisiana, felt like living inside a dryer lid trap. You know, just constant spinning, static, and the occasional lost sock of sanity. Reminds me of this one time my cousin Earl thought he saw Bigfoot near the Piggly Wiggly. Turned out it was just a meth head wearing a gorilla suit. He stole from the Halloween store, but that's small town life. Things get real strange real quick. It's like Earl would have been a perfect witness on that show on A&E where they chase down killers in the first 2 days after a murder, because after that, apparently, the case gets colder than my ex-wife's heart. They're like, it's old news now, which is wild, because you'd think solving a murder would be a little more important than figuring out what's on the dollar menu. I'm fascinated by how many folks see a murder happen. Like, I always pictured murders happening in the shadows, behind a dumpster. But these people are front row seats. Like, yeah, I saw the whole thing. He was about 5'2" to 6'8", something like that. And the cops are like, that's the best you got? And they're like, he had ears too. And they still draw a sketch, and it looks like a Picasso painting gone wrong. Then they show it around, and nobody knows who it is. Until some dude is like, yeah, that's Cricket. Been knowing Cricket for 27 years. And the cops are like, what's his real name? And the guy is all, just Cricket, like he was birthed with that name. I swear, it's always some dude in a wife beater, dirty hat, cigarette, hanging out his mouth. Looks 33, but is actually 76, talking super aggressive to the cops. I've been out here for a minute, and the cops just sigh. Then they cut to the whitest detective, who looks like he just walked out of a ale
Bean catalog. And was like, I don't think he's going to be much help. Like he expected Shakespeare from a guy named Cricket. The best part of that show, though, is the interrogation. It's like, you want drama? Try questioning someone about taking another human life. The stakes are higher than a giraffe on stilts. But these detectives, bless their hearts, insist on using the suspect's street name, so it turns into a cartoon. They're like, your life's on the line, Lil Stank. Did you know Dookie Shoes? And the guy's like, I don't know no Dookie Shoes. Then they show him a picture, and he's all, I seen him around. And then they throw one little piece of evidence at him, like Numin said you were at the 7-Eleven last week. And suddenly he's confessing to everything. Yeah, I shot him in the face like a damn pressure cooker. It's like, dude, you can't lie for 10 minutes. You can kill a man, but you can't outsmart a detective for a coffee break's worth of time. That's why if you're ever in that situation, lawyer up, man. Don't try to be a hero, because I've seen 300 people get interrogated on that show, and only 2 asked for a lawyer. And both times the detectives looked like they'd just been handed a flat tire, and at the end of the episode there was text on the screen that read, "All charges against Tayshaun were dropped," or "Let's be real, there's never any Jims on that show." Ain't never heard no detective go, "Hey Bryce, where were you last Friday? I was over at Tanner's house, sorry bro."
Nah, man, it's always someone with a name that sounds like it came straight out of a Wu-Tang Clan album. All the Bryces are out there baking cookies and not ending up on A&E.
All right, settle down, y'all. Let me tell you something. Reminds me of the time my cousin, Skeeter, tried to train a squirrel to water ski on Lake Pontchartrain.
Real deal.
Skeeter was convinced he could make this squirrel a star, had this whole contraption rigged up with toothpicks and a tiny styrofoam board looking like something out of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Now, Skeeter, bless his heart, ain't exactly men's material, more like a box of rocks with a mullet, but he's got this unwavering belief in the absurd, you know? Anyway, this squirrel named Nutsy, by the way, because Skeeter ain't exactly creative either, just kept swimming back to shore looking at Skeeter like he was speaking Martian. Skeeter got frustrated, started yelling at the squirrel, "Hold on tight, Nutsy, you gotta commit." Made me think about these comedians getting booed off stage, feeling like that squirrel just wanted out of there, looking at the crowd like y'all speaking Martian or something. See, there's something primal about stand-up. It's like bare-knuckle fighting with words. You gotta walk out there naked as a jaybird and tell a room full of strangers that you're funnier than they are.
All right, folks, let me tell you something. Reminds me of my cousin Billy Bob, bless his heart, used to catch catfish with his bare hands down at the bayou, slick as a alligators promise. And one time he reels in this monster, this flathead looking like it swallowed a bowling ball. And Billy Bob, he just stares at it, eyes wide as saucers, and says, "Why ain't you just something?" Which is exactly what I thought when I saw this study, right? About how social media, that dang thing, is making us lonely like a hound dog on a chain, you know? They say folks compare themselves to these Instagram models, these perfectly filtered lives, thinking everyone's living in a damn magazine, which is bullcrap. Because I'm pretty sure half of them are using so much Photoshop they look like aliens trying to pass as humans at a Walmart convention. And it's making them feel bad like they ain't good enough, which is a dang shame, because everyone's got something special, like my Aunt Mildred's potato salad. Looks like roadkill but tastes like heaven, so they're feeling left out, disconnected, like a landline in a cell phone world, and spending all their time online, looking for likes, instead of actually talking to folks face to face, real human connection, like a hug from your grandma after a long day of shoveling manure. And it's a vicious cycle, a hamster wheel of sadness, where you just keep running and running but never get anywhere, never find true happiness, which, let's be honest, is probably just a warm plate of cornbread and a good dog anyway. So what I'm saying is, put down your phone, folks, go outside, talk to a neighbor, pet a stray cat, maybe even learn to catch catfish with your bare hand, 'cause life's too short to spend it chasing digital ghosts. And besides, that catfish might just teach you a thing or two about resilience, or at least give you a good story to tell next time you're standing in line at the Piggly Wiggly, trying not to compare your groceries to Miss Henderson's organic kale, which, let's face it, ain't never gonna happen, 'cause I am a simple man, and I like my Mountain Dew. Just don't be like my Uncle Dale, who thought the internet was a series of tubes, God rest his soul.
Man, I swear growing up back in Tickfaw, Louisiana, we had this old dog, Cletus. Dumber than a box of rocks. Bless his heart. Cletus used to chase his tail so hard he'd spin himself right into the damn ditch. You know, like those folks who just got to get kicked in the face because they watch the foot come in. Like Cletus saw that tail and you know he'd bite it again. Reminds me of this dude I saw getting booted, right? He looked at us after like, "Did y'all see that?" Needed validation for being an idiot. Now, I ain't one for kicking. I'm a fist kind of guy unless, hear me out, unless you start stretching before a fight. You stretching, I'm out. Man, growing up in Tickfaw, Louisiana, we only saw All Blacks on TV, like when Jason Momoa shows up at my gym, right? And he's all, "Theo, you look different on TV, like a fat piece of," well, you know, but then we hung out for 12 hours. Most genuine dude ever. Way more authentic than my own podcast partner, Brett. Like, I swear, Jason and I, we're practically blood brothers now, you know? Anyway, never thought I'd do stand-up in South America. Figured I'd be wrestling gators till I croaked, but Buenos Aires, Argentina blew my mind. Ate like a king the steak. Oh, Lord have mercy. Then Chile was amazing. Lima, Peru, saw some family, good folks. In Mexico City, spicy tacos and sweet people. Flew home, catnap, then bam. 40-day European tour. That's like being shot out of a cannon made of schnitzel. Madrid, Barcelona, Copenhagen, Paris, London, Birmingham, Glasgow. Felt like I was on a dang space shuttle made of baguettes and bangers and ended up in Iceland, ice fire comedy like a Viking funeral for my voice box, you know? And Tom, working for Tom is like finding a four-leaf clover in a field of cow pies. I tell you, the man gets it. Treat your people right, they'll work their tails off. He's got a nose for good folks, surrounds himself with them, trusts them, creates this whole environment where nobody wants to let him down, you know, like a mama bird nudging her chicks. Meeting Tom 14 years ago changed my life more than grits, changed my arteries. He's unconditionally supportive. Best year of my life. Love you, Tom. Feels like he took a chance on me, like finding a 20-year-old jeans, and I can't imagine touring with anyone else. Speaking, there's Mike Cronin, opens for Tom 4 times this year, probably doesn't remember me, always staring at his phone, but he's proud of Tom, thinks he's a good person, asks for more money. Classic Mike. And then there's Sam, driving for Tom, been thinking long and hard, says he can't say anything good about the man. Reminds me of my Uncle Earl after too much moonshine, says he's mean. Even when he's nice, he's mean, says they work 7 days a week. No time off, hasn't seen his family in 4 years. Then he blows his nose real loud. Gotta do it again. For a then serious face, says Tom's a good guy, pleasure to work for, easygoing. But here's the kicker, folks. Sam says Tom isn't funny, which is like saying a dog can't bark. And you know what? Maybe that's the secret. Surround yourself with funny folks and let them shine like fireflies in a mason jar. And maybe, just maybe, you'll get to eat steak in Argentina and laugh your way to Iceland, because life, like a good joke, is all about the setup and the punchline. And sometimes the punchline is just realizing you're surrounded by good people, even if one of them blows his nose really loud. Shoot, let me tell y'all something. This private school my youngins go to, it's got me feeling like a scarecrow in a cornfield of egos. Standing there thinking, dang, do they even know I used to sell out comedy shows faster than sweet tea at a Klan rally? I ain't bragging, I'm just being honest. Like that time I found a 2-headed squirrel in my backyard. Weird, but true. Anyway, I'm as humble as a hound dog in a mud puddle, but even a blind squirrel finds a nut sometimes. And these folks gotta act like I'm just another John Deere tractor in the parking lot. So picture this, I'm dropping off little Kevin Jr., and the teachers swarm my Escalade like flies on a honey wagon, right? Mrs. Henderson, bless her heart, comes tapping on the window, all smiles like a possum eating a persimmon. Mr. Hart, she chirps, the annual school fair is coming up and we were hoping you'd consider being our greeter. Now I waited, I gave her the old "are you smoking, cracking your teeth" stare, but she just blinked back like a newborn calf. Greeter? Me? Kevin sold out stadiums? Hart? I ain't hating on greeters, mind you. They're the unsung heroes of retail, like that Walmart fella that once greeted me so hard I thought I'd accidentally wandered into a gospel revival. Dude slid into my field of vision like he was butter on a hot biscuit, yelled, "Welcome to Walmart, you here to get you some stuff?" and then proceeded to moonwalk away, leaving me questioning the very fabric of reality. I bought extra stuff just to show him some respect and practically broke my neck trying to get him to bless my receipt with his highlighter. True story, ask my Aunt Shirley, she was there. But that's Walmart, folks, where dreams are made of questionable processed foods and inspirational moonwalks. This is a fancy pants private school, the kind where they serve organic kale smoothies at the Bake Bay. I was selling out arenas plastered on billboards bigger than my Uncle Ray's double wide, and they want me to say howdy, folks, next to a petting zoo. No, sir. They got Alfonso Ribeiro's kids there. Let Carlton do his little dance at the entrance. Terry Crews is jacked. Give him a megaphone and let him flex his way into intoning people. Or Pep straight up yell, "Welcome to the fun fair." It's like asking Dolly Parton to clean out your gutters. Sure, she's probably got a heart of gold, but there's folks fair suited for the job, you know? I'm like a champion bull rider being asked to herd chickens. Somebody ain't quite thinking right. All right. Settle down, y'all. Let me tell you something. Grew up in a town so small. The high school mascot was a question mark. Seriously, just a big old question mark on the field. People were confused. Even the cheerleaders were like, what are we cheering for? Uncertainty. It reminds me of this time my buddy Earl, bless his heart, tried to impress this girl by saying he was film Wedding Ring or two before the first one even hit theaters. Like telling people you already got a platinum membership to Beyonce's Beehive plus a +1 with Lamar Odom. Back when he was still rocking princess cut she jeans, which by the way is a crime against fashion, worse than Floyd Mayweather and them damn cowboy boots. Somebody lock that man up. Stylist needs to be fired or 2 Chainz showing up to court in a suit. Some things are just inherently wrong, like my Aunt Brenda's attempt to get on a reality show called Straight from the Heart.
pushing past me like a damn offensive lineman to get in front of the camera, saying hi from the heart while I'm trying to explain the earth is not flat. But somehow Rihanna getting kicked off Instagram for too much skin is somehow supposed to be acceptable. That's like banishing Waffle House from World Star Hip Hop. Ruins the whole damn site, but honestly, I'd pay $1 million just to see her. Well, you know, again, for the first time, but also knowing it's still Rihanna. So that brings me back to these co-stars I've been working with over the years. All of them except The Rock, that is, and The Rock hasn't helped one damn bit. Steve, I'm looking at you. You ain't gonna help nobody except the inmates, Stevie. What is wrong with you? You look like you shop at the Velvet Sweatsuit store next door to Nacho Dick Emporium. And I swear to God, they are all just as ridiculous as waiting 45 minutes for a sandwich from Quiznos. Just needs more dreamers, and definitely not Will Packer sitting beside me at award shows. Fifth black dude in a row. I think they have a row of just like all the black folks just chilling there, and Amy Schumer is just getting it thrown in her face, which I'm okay with, and then Whoopi Goldberg just goes on The View and says some wild-ish shit. I can't even I gotta shave again because of all the stupid that's going on, and then some guy is throwing me off while I'm about to rip on this stage in camouflage. He thinks his petite jacket is gonna save him. You know, maybe I don't have a college degree, but I got a yacht. Well, I will have a yacht. It's on credit. I'm just saying, I thought I looked cooler in a suit, and now I feel like I look like a head in a box, so I look like a guy with a head, so I don't know. Maybe I should dress like my friend Earl. Man, let me tell you something. I knew this dude back in Tickfaw named Earl. Looked like a scarecrow that got struck by lightning, right? Earl had this Chihuahua, Pepe, meanest little ankle biter you ever did see. Wouldn't let nobody near Earl, not even Earl's own mama. Bless her heart. She tried to bring Earl a casserole once, and Pepe went straight for the jugular like a furry little piranha. Anyway, Earl used to say Pepe ain't mean, he just protective, just like how them black mamas get when their kids mess up. I'ma count to 3, boy. You be out of them woods. And you know they ain't playing, but then you got the white mamas, Lord have mercy, they get fed up too, but it's a different kind of fed up. It's like, I've had it up to here with your insubordination, get in the car, we're going for a ride down by the lake, and the kids are all excited, thinking it's a fun day. Little do they know, mama's got other plans. My own mama, she would never take us for a ride down by the lake, but she'd sure use that story as a threat, scare us straight, saying, y'all keep messing up, I'm gonna take your asses for a ride. And I'd be thinking, mama, you don't even have a car, you go and hitchhike us down there. It's like that Lavelle Crawford joke, good stuff, good stuff. Reminds me of the Mexican-American folks too. They got that same kind of love, that same kind of fire. They love flowers, they love music, they love white girls named Debbie, they love education, going to night school, taking Spanish and getting a B. They don't love getting up early, but they do it anyway, real slow like a turtle in molasses. They love their nanas and nonos and ninas and ninos, nano. But don't you dare call them beaters. Them old cars they drive, they'll kick you in the face faster than you can say Cheech and Chong. Call them beers, even though they drive real slow, goddamn slow. They don't like to be called Peter. You can dress them up, but you can't take them out. That's the truth, man. They named Chata and Sheila and Chima and little Chima and have a son-in-law named Jeff, and they don't like them movies where the dude has to wear contact lenses to make his blue eyes brown, cause don't make my brown eyes blue. Is it time for the race? They live in Los Angeles, San Diego, San Antonio, San Francisco, and now all over Canada. They just get cold up there. Mexican Americans have been here forever, and we're going to be here forever, and we only want what's fair. Mexican Americans, yeah, man, that's it for now. Thanks for joining us. Now the credits are going to roll. You don't have to stick around, but I do. There's my name. Woohoo. The 5th cameraman is hot. Okay, then I'm done. Can I go now? For crying out loud, what, mommy? It's over. Just like that time Earl's mama tried to give Pepe a treat, and he bit her so hard she needed stitches. Some things just ain't worth the casserole, you know. All right. How y'all doing? That's what I like to hear. Yeah, Theo Vaughn here. Let me tell you something. Grew up in the sticks, Louisiana. We had this old hound dog, Blue. Sweetest thing, but dumber than a box of rocks, I swear. He'd chase his tail till he passed out. Then wake up and do it again. Just pure unadulterated joy in that dog's heart. Reminds me of my cousin Earl, bless his soul anyway. Saw some fancy water backstage, thought I'd grab a sip. Next thing you know, sploosh right down the front of my pants, looking like I just lost a battle with my bladder. And you know what's crazy? We're all so worried about looking like we peed ourselves. Like it's the ultimate social faux pas, but let me tell you, nobody's intentionally rocking the pee-stained pants look. Like, yeah, just gonna let this soak in. Air dry. Adds character. Nah, if it happens, it's an accident. A momentary lapse of judgment. Like driving a tractor through a car wash, you just gotta own it. And besides, pee's like that fire in backdraft, it goes where it wants. It's got a mind of its own, seeping down your leg, pulling in your shoe. A real abstract expressionist masterpiece. But that got me thinking. You ever see them folks in the bathroom, hovering under the hand dryer, scorching their nether regions like they're trying to deep fry a chicken? Ain't nobody got time for that. And that water wasn't water, 'cause it just kept coming like a leaky faucet, which is a sign. I'm getting older. 43 now, which is weird,
because I just got carded at Cracker Barrel, but my knee sounds like a bowl of Rice Krispies. Makes me think of these awards, we give them out, feel good, raise some money, but it's like, who really deserves it? Like in Willy Wonka, Charlie gets the golden ticket, takes Grandpa Joe, and everybody's cheering, but what about Grandpa George, huh? Laying in that bed, looking like a prune, getting passed over for the guy who suddenly remembers how to walk after 4. Grandpa Joe, that walrus-mustached con artist, lying in bed while they sing Cheer Up Charlie, that song that sounds like a funeral dirge, while his mama makes laundry soup. It ain't right. It ain't fair. It's like award shows where some folks get the golden ticket and others are left eating dust. And honestly, that reminds me of that hound dog Blue. He never got any awards, just chased his tail and barked at squirrels, but he was happy as a clam. Maybe that's the real award, just finding your own damn tail to chase. Now ain't that something?
All right, folks. Let me tell you something. Growing up in Possum Trot, Tennessee, population smaller than a Walmart on a Tuesday night, we didn't have no fancy math groups. No Blue Angels flying high. We just had smart kids and the rest of y'all. And I was definitely hanging out with the rest of y'all. Probably eating a moon pie and trying to figure out why the sky was blue, which, is a deeper question than any algebra equation. I swear it makes you think about stuff like how we're all just dust particles floating in the cosmos, kind of like those folks on Law & Order, always finding dead bodies in New York, which I gotta say I love that show, especially the one where the dude is unloading crates while the detectives are asking him about a triple homicide. Like, sir, your neighbor's been murdered and his cats are missing. And he's like, yeah, Tony Ramirez, Tuesday's box of bananas. I tell you, that reminds me of my Uncle Billy, who wouldn't stop whittling even when a tornado was coming. Said he had a wood spirit to appease anyway. Law and Order's just comfort food. Same story every time, like them Dollar General cookies that are always a little stale, but somehow you still eat them. And then there's Jerry Orbach, Lenny Briscoe himself. That guy was a legend. I miss him more than I miss my Aunt Mildred's potato salad at Thanksgiving, which, let me tell you, was a culinary crime against humanity, bless her heart. Jerry was the best. Always had that dry wit like a good shot of moonshine on a cold night. And then he went and died. And get this, they gave his eyeballs to 2 different New Yorkers. 2 different people walking around with Jerry Orbach, looking out at the world. Imagine the pressure. I mean, what if one of them starts making those little wisecracks at crime scenes, like, looks like someone didn't pass their final exam. That'd be something. Or maybe they both fall in love, like some kind of bizarre rom-com. Love at first sight. New York. 2 strangers meet, who only share a pair of deceased detectives' eyes. He likes football, she likes stocks, but then they stumble upon a dead body and at the same time they both just blurt out, well, class dismissed, as they gaze into each other's Jerry Orbach-y eyes.
Growing up back in the holler, we had this old hound dog. Blue, dumber than a box of rocks soaked in moonshine, I swear. The dog thought a vacuum cleaner was the devil himself. Would bark at it till he passed out, bless his heart. Reminded me of my Aunt Tammy trying to work a smartphone. Just pure, unadulterated panic. But Blue, he had this one trick. See a squirrel, he'd chase it right up a tree, then just sit there, wagging his tail, barking at the branches like he was waiting on a winning lottery ticket. Which brings me to this fella, Craig. Met him at the bank. Not a teller, not security, just loitering. Like a scarecrow forgot its job. I said, how you doing, out of southern politeness, the kind Granny drilled into you for she hit the hard stuff. And this dude, Craig, launches into a dissertation on his upcoming trip to Virginia, like I'm his damn travel agent or something. Turns out he's visiting his sister after 15 years. Never been before. I'm thinking, buddy, you got more baggage than a Kardashian going to a yard sale, and he just drones on monuments and whatnot, and I'm trapped, man, like a possum in a parking lot wanting to scream, I just want to deposit this check so I can buy more jerky, leave me be. But he's got me cornered, this social vampire. And he actually says, I'll be here when you walk out. Like it's a threat, not a promise. And that's when it hit me, this whole how you doing thing. It's a social contract, a gentle dance, not an invitation to your therapy session. You got to keep it light, people, like a firefly on a summer night. Fine or great is all you need. Anything else is like showing up to a potluck with a plate of roadkill. Just ain't right. So next time somebody asks, remember Craig and keep it brief. Unless, of course, you want to unleash the hounds of hell on an unsuspecting stranger, then by all means tell him about your bunions.
Man, I swear, growing up in Louisiana, we had this bathtub, right? Avocado green. Looked like Shrek's armpit. And it was slipperier than a politician's promise, so the time I'm in there just trying to exfoliate like a damn influencer, and bam, down I go, like a sack of potatoes. But here's the kicker. My cousin, bless her heart, she's in there too, thinking she's auditioning for a shampoo commercial, all slow motion hair flips and whatnot. And I accidentally clothesline her with my flailing limbs. It was like a scene from a slapstick comedy, except nobody was laughing, especially her, because see, it's like this with women. They got this whole expectation thing going on, right? You're supposed to be this graceful, protective force field against the slippery demons of the porcelain abyss. But the truth is, I'm just a clumsy swamp creature navigating a world designed for ballerinas. And that's kind of how I see this whole body image thing too. Like, women are constantly getting judged, weighed, measured, told to shrink here, puff up there. It's like they're living in a goddamn funhouse mirror. And meanwhile, dudes are out here walking around looking like sentient beer kegs, rocking the dad bod like it's the latest fashion trend. And nobody bats an eye. It's a wild double standard. I tell you, it's like comparing a meticulously crafted souffle to a microwaved burrito. Both can be delicious, but one's definitely getting more side-eye at the dinner party, you know? So next time you see a woman falling in the shower, cut her some slack. She's probably just trying to wash her feet, and even if she ain't, it's probably better than the alternative, which is trying to date in the modern world. That's even more slippery, guaranteed someone will end up falling. All right, so picture this. I'm back in Tickfaw, Louisiana, right? My Uncle Bobby, bless his heart, he had this pet raccoon named, wait for it, President McKinley. I swear that's what he called him. Anyway, McKinley was a menace. Stole dentures off the porch, chased the neighbor's chihuahua, classic raccoon stuff. But Uncle Bobby, he treated that raccoon like his own flesh and blood, even tried to get him a little coonskin hat for Christmas. Didn't go well. Raccoon bit him. So there I was, 7 years old, watching Uncle Bobby wrestle a raccoon while trying to put a hat on him. And I thought, man, this is love. This is true, unadulterated love. Man, tell you something, I'm dating this gal, right? Think we're serious? She ain't shaving her legs no more like Sasquatch down there. She bought herself one of them buzzing gizmos. Meanwhile, I got an Xbox, so, we spend less time together. I'm slinging digital sweat in NBA 2K. She's exploring the Mariana Trench solo, but bottom line, we're both thinking about LeBron, which is weird, right? Women, man, there's something else, faking the big O like it's nothing, but can't fake being happy at Thanksgiving dinner with the in-laws. Come on, smile for grandma. Every time we get busy, she's all, you made me come, like I'm freaking David Copperfield or something. And I'm like, well, I was mostly just laying there, but all right, I'll take the credit. It's like I go to the barber shop, tell him, just hold the clippers still, rub 'em on my head like a love-starved Siamese, and then act surprised when I walk out looking like Brad Pitt. And this ain't no fling. I'm on the road. Gotta be faithful, folks. Ask Theo how you do it. All them temptations. My secret? Ain't a single woman ever even looked at me sideways. That's how I stay faithful. It's a daily struggle. A constant battle against nothing. I'm on a plane, hot tamale walks my way, and I'm praying. Please, Lord, let her sit next to anyone but me. She does. Silence for 3 hours. And I'm feeling like Gandhi by the time we land. Like I just won a Nobel Peace Prize for being utterly ignored. Used to hit up strip clubs, Now I'm on a quest. Want to be a mentor, a good influence. Tried to join Big Brothers. They wouldn't let me near a kid. Messed up the interview real good. They ask, what's a bad example of a big brother? And my dumbass says, child molester. Lady looks like I just kicked her puppy. She meant impatient, and I thought we were playing for keeps. They ask what I bring to the table. I say patience, which is the opposite of pedophilia, folks. The willingness to wait. That's a joke. Dark as my Uncle Earl's moonshine, but structurally sound, worth a chuckle. Gotta laugh at the messed up stuff. Keeps you from going completely bonkers. This past few weeks, news been wild. Remember that little feller got chomped by a gator at Disney World? Seemed like the highlight of the year, didn't it? ISIS even tried to claim responsibility. That's when you know things are truly sideways. Alligators working for the bad guys, Lord have mercy. Speaking of scary, Delta Airlines, I despise them. Except for them Biscoff cookies. Them are good, damn good, dunk 'em in coffee. Eat 'em plain, versatile little biscuits. Reminds me of Biscotti, all pretentious. Like Chips Ahoy went to Europe for a summer Delta, though. They stole 20,000 miles from me. Hard-earned miles from flying coach and catching the herp from the armrest. I call, lady on the phone says, we don't do complaints no more. You got to email and it'll take 6 months, 6 months. She might as well spit in my face. Then she adds, also, your mama's a, well, she didn't say that exactly, but that's how her words made me feel. See, that's therapy. You can say whatever you want as long as it's how you feel. I tell my girl, I ain't calling you crazy, honey. I'm just saying, based on your actions, you'd fit right in at the funny farm. It's insensitive if you disregard my feelings. That's what I'm saying. Get transferred to another lady at Delta. Worse than the first says my miles are from 2010. They didn't start keeping track till 2011. Sorry, with an AZ at the end. The most insincere of all apologies. That's the kind of sorry you give when you're standing over a body at a funeral. And I'm all, this ain't fair, she says. Well, I don't know what to tell you. I say, I feel like you're being condescending. And she asks, who am I? And I'm not proud of what I said next. I said, I hope you die in a fire. I'm just reporting the facts, trying to be honest. In my defense, I didn't say, I hope I kill you in a fire. Just said, I hope. Better world type thing. Maybe a treatable form of cancer would be fair. You know, treatable. I ain't a monster. She shows up to the hospital. They say, your insurance ran out in 2010, so sorry. And I'm like, well, karma's a Biscoff cookie, ain't it? Man, I swear, I remember one time back in Tickfaw, Louisiana, used to go catfishing with my Uncle Earl. This dude looked like if a bear and a lawnmower had a baby, but gentle as a lamb till you touched his Copenhagen anyway. We'd be out there on the bogue, chitto, breathing in that swamp air thick enough to chew. And he always said, Theo, boy, sometimes the best way to catch a catfish ain't with no fancy bait. It's just acting real still, real calm, like a log floating downstream. Now, that ain't got nothing to do with cops, but bear with me, because one time got pulled over outside Baton Rouge, felt like I was in a dang aquarium with that flashlight blazing in my eyes. Cop comes up looking like he swallowed a lemon whole. Sir, you know why I pulled you over? And I remembered Uncle Earl's catfish wisdom, so I took a deep breath like I was smelling honeysuckle on a summer morning, stared straight ahead like I was looking into the dang future. Let him ask again, sir, do you know why I pulled you over? And this is where it gets real. Tickfaw, real Uncle Earl. I put my finger to his lips, gentle as a butterfly landing on a magnolia. Shh, I said, like I was telling a baby robin to hush. Then I ain't even lying. Stroked his mustache, just a little tap, 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 like playing a tiny piano on his face. And then, brother, I just eased on down the road, left him standing there looking like he'd just seen Bigfoot riding a uniskull. I'm telling you. Sometimes treating a cop like a catfish is the dang answer. Now, I ain't saying it's legal, but I'm saying Uncle Earl would be proud, real proud. All right. All right. So I was back home in Louisiana last summer, you know, visiting Mama, and she's got this rooster, right, named Clarence. Now, Clarence thinks he's the sheriff of the whole dang yard, strutting around like he's got a mortgage on the place, pecking at anything that moves, even Mama's ankles. Which, bless her heart, she just swats at him with her cane like he's a mosquito the size of a chihuahua. And it got me thinking about stuff like how everything's got its own pecking order, even in a chicken coop in the middle of nowhere. And that reminded me of, you know, everything kind of has an order, things like trust and relationships. Like, if you're going to build something solid, you got to lay that foundation early, right? Kind of like Mama building that fence. Every little piece helps to keep those chickens in. Same goes in your marriage. You know, that trust is going to take its time, but eventually, you know, those birds are going to be flying and the chickens from next door is going to be watching and the neighbor's chickens all looking. So basically you're laying bricks, except those bricks are like honesty and openness and maybe a little bit of forgiveness thrown in there. Because let's be real, we all screw up, right? We all eat the corn. We're all guilty. Some people like Clarence think he is getting away with everything. But the real thing is that if you ain't got that trust, then your relationship is like Mama's old shed. One big gust of wind and it's all going to come tumbling down, chickens and all, leaving you standing there scratching your head, wondering where you went wrong. So you got to protect your foundation and nurture those chickens like the way she always says, you know, you got to water it so those beautiful feathers can come flying out. And if the thing is, sometimes that's a lesson I have to remember, just like Clarence and Mama. Sometimes those roosters are right behind you when you aren't looking. Man, y'all ever been to London, Canada? It's like, bless their hearts, right? They're trying, but it's like naming your kid Elvis Jr. You just set him up for disappointment, you know? Reminds me of this one time. I was at Starbucks trying to be healthy, ordering just a black coffee. and this chirpy barista hits me with the welcome to Starbucks. What can we get you to eat today? I swear it's a conspiracy. They're pushing breakfast sandwiches harder than a used car salesman on payday. I'm thinking, lady, I came here for caffeine, not a guilt trip. I miss the honesty, the brutal, beautiful honesty of In-N-Out Burger. Pull up, order a double-double, animal-style fries and a Coke, and they hit you with the will you be eating in the car. They ain't judging. They know you're about to commit a culinary crime against humanity right there in your Honda Civic. It's pure unadulterated shame, and I respect that. Yes, it's pure unadulterated shame, and I respect that. It's like, I need that honesty. Like my dad, Lord rest his soul. He was the same way all the way back to Christmas Day when I was 12. And my sister says she wanted to smoke weed. My dad goes right into these war stories. You want to know what I think about marijuana? I saw one guy at a party with a cigarette. I left immediately. That's the first story, and the second one is about him wanting to murder the Viet Cong for selling it to his Marines. Like nothing in between, no trying it to see what's up, just pure and unadulterated story time with no nuance. It's like religion, ain't it? I respect all faiths, Christian, Muslim, even you Jews doing your thing. But if you're a Scientologist, you can go straight to hell. Man, I swear, growing up in Louisiana, you know, we had this one dude, Cletus, looked like a thumb with a mullet, always trying to sell me fireworks he found behind the Piggly Wiggly, and it reminds me of trying to do comedy in Brooklyn, you know? I did a black room, right? Thought I was woke, wasn't going to do the white guy thing, you know, be myself. Lasted 3 minutes, man. 3 minutes before I was bombing worse than a flock of pigeons in a park fountain. Someone told me I had to go in there severely autistic or talk about Pokemon. Like, what the heck is that? Because apparently black people love Japanese cartoons like more than a possum loves roadkill. Didn't know that. Had zero clue. Thought they were busy building pyramids or something. Speaking of clueless, remind me of prison. It's so wild in there, man. Can I just visit people in prison and tell them I love Japanese cartoons? Do I have to know them? Because I feel like if you go in there and shout Tyrone, you're all right. Like 80% of the inmates will be happy to see you. Reminds me of back when we used to ding-dong ditch the town church. All right. Settle down, folks. Settle down. So growing up in Slaughter, Louisiana, you wouldn't believe the nicknames. I weren't exactly tall. See, more like compact. One dude, Cousin Earl, bless his heart, he'd yell across the Piggly Wiggly, "Hey, Theo, I can't believe it's that big," referencing my personality, I guess. Wasn't the height, but the sheer force of will. You see, like a chihuahua with a Napoleon complex. That's me. And it got me thinking, all this talk about height, it's bullcrap. Tall folks, bless their hearts, they just conversational advantages like them fancy, overpriced steaks that taste like cardboard. There ain't nothing else special about them. They ain't smarter. They ain't funnier. They sure as hell ain't tougher. I've seen a possum take down a Great Dane. Size ain't everything. People. My grandma used to say, little man, little woman, they the salt of the earth. And she knew she was barely 5 foot nothing. Could skin a deer faster than you can say sweet tea. So all you short kings and queens out there, rock that height or lack thereof. You're the real MVPs. Reminds me of this fella, DJ Kentai's. Well, let's just say older gentlemen have some unique talents down there. But seriously, though, height aside, it's about what you bring to the table, not how high you can reach the shelf. It's like Kevin Hart. Love that little dude. He gets all the chicks despite his size. Oh, and party tricks. DJ can tie his balls into a knot. That is his party trick. Reminds me of Santa coming down the chimney. Am I right? Mm. Anyways, it all comes down to this. The world's obsessed with superficial stuff. Height, breath, snore, fart. It is always about that. But it's the inside, what kind of heart you got. You feel me? Like this one dude said, the iguana picking up a worm. Who am I compared to that iguana? And I'm up here thinking about Honky Pete as Jumanji League superheroes. It's bonkers. You rather never have sex again, or every time you do, you scream Jumanji. Jesus Christ. My point is, don't go trying to be something you ain't. Own your weirdness. Embrace your flaws, because at the end of the day, that's what makes you, you. Whether you are Black Adam or Honky Pete, embrace it. Life's too short to be anything but a little snack size. Denzel, just ask Wayne Johnson with women thighs. And if anybody gives you grief about your height, just tell them to kiss your, well, you know. Just let your little light shine, y'all. Let it shine. And if they still give you trouble, tell them Theo Von sent you, and I'll sick Cousin Earl on him. He may be short, but he's got a big heart and a, well, you know. Anyways, I'm done. I'm going to get some nutty butter and tea with the queen, y'all. See you later, alligator. Man, let me tell you something. Back in Louisiana, we used to have possum nights instead of game nights because ain't nothing brings out the worst in folks like trying to trap a critter that's already halfway to Narnia. But now I gotta let my friends invade my house monthly for game night. And I swear, it's like watching a bunch of toddlers wrestle a greased pig, especially when Monopoly's involved. We don't even play it right. It's like we're negotiating treaties for outer space. Like, look, Chad, you can bypass Boardwalk twice, but you gotta pay that damn late fee. I got a Blockbuster back in '04 deal. And the women, bless their hearts, they hit that wine and suddenly their brains evacuate the premises faster than a Baptist church on Halloween. They got two settings, stone cold sober and hunt. I think I just saw Elvis. There's no in between, no simmering. They just leapfrog over sanity. Straight into did I just try to pay my taxes with Monopoly money? Then last time my wife, bless her tipsy soul, lands on my property and I'm hitting her with the DJ scratching noises. You gotta pay that rent, baby, cha-ching, and she's slurring like a swamp donkey trying to recite Shakespeare. How much do I owe you, babe? Looks down, she's broke as a joke, so I snatch her piece, yeet it across the room like a crawfish at a Mardi Gras parade, and she starts getting all emotional. All you care about is winning. I'm thinking, dang, this escalated faster than a squirrel up a pecan tree, and I blurt out, well, all I care about is coming sometime. And then Harry and Wayne chime in with their own marital woes, like there's some kind of support group for Monopoly-induced existential crises. I swear next time I'm bringing the possums. All right, hold on now. Let me tell you all something. So, I was back home in Louisiana, right? Place flatter than a pancake after Mama Sue sits on it, which, bless her heart, ain't nobody wanted to see. And my buddy Earl, bless his heart too, kind of simple fella. Earl's got this bucket list, right? Now most folks, they got traveling the world, skydiving, maybe learning to play the dang harp on their list. Earl wants to learn how to belly dance. Belly dance. I swear I almost spit out my sweet tea. Told him, Earl, you look like a busted refrigerator trying to wiggle, but you go on with your bad self. But it got me thinking about meeting Obama. You know, Bo, as I called him, real in the White House. Like I told my wife, girl, this my De Niro moment. You better recognize, and how I did my Denzel impression. Chomp chomp. Training day. Nobody clapped. I swear it was racist. Anyways, it was just such a small thing, belly dancing dreams and presidential handshakes, all mixed up like grits and gravy. But the other day it really pissed me off when I saw Cube talking about how I walk. You know, he just stays angry because his top lip never moves. Reminds me of my Uncle Ray. That dude looks like he hasn't had a decent haircut in 5 years. But you know what made me think this is the same Nicole Kidman where she couldn't even clap? She just had boomerangs for hands right there. The point is, folks are so dang worried about these big, grand bucket list items, the things they think are important, that they forget about the little things, like just getting out there, running along the beach like I like to do, but then somebody threw shit at me, literally. But no matter what, folks are so worried about feet, you just got to realize you can't take steps in life without them. And that reminds me, I got some gala ladies coming over to get their feet blessed. It's all connected, see? Belly dancing, the president, bad haircuts, feet. It's all just a bunch of crazy life stuff, and that's just how I feel, like a possum playing dead on a hot asphalt road, hoping nobody mistakes you for a speed bump. Man. College, right? I swear, I just got a letter from my alma mater. Felt like Christmas morning, kind of, you know. Until I opened that sucker up. Said, hey, Theo, remember us. We're the reason you're in debt. Just kidding, mostly. Then they hit me with this line, and I'm paraphrasing here because I threw the damn thing in the trash after, but it was basically, hey, cough up some dough. We want a gift, but, you know, only if it jingles. Now, I'm no mathematician, but back when I was slurping ramen in that glorified daycare, I was forking over about 15 grand a semester, twice a year for 4 years. Do the math, folks. That's like 120,000 clams. I practically bought the damn library. So, excuse my French, but are you telling me that after I essentially funded a small African nation's GDP with my tuition, you got the audacity, the sheer nerve to ask for more? What is this, a hostage situation? I feel like I'm dealing with my cousin Gary. You know, Gary showed up to Thanksgiving wearing a wife beater asking for $20 for gas, even though his car's been up on blocks in the yard since the I-2K.
Where's that money even go, college?
Did you build a solid gold statue of the dean? Is there a secret underground bowling alley I never knew about? I bet it all went into those stupid study abroad programs where kids go to Italy and take pictures of pizza, Meanwhile, I'm eating ketchup packets in the library, trying to decipher Shakespeare with a hangover the size of Louisiana. I got buddies, they're all, Theo, be a good alum. Donate. They even wear the college t-shirt like they're still trying to impress their RA. Look, if you're a grown man still sending money to your old college, that's like still paying your ex-girlfriend's rent. She ain't coming back, buddy. You're just enabling her kombucha habit. That college, that's a $120,000 hooker and you fell in love with her. In the letter, they were all like, it's been a while since you donated. I felt like firing back. It's been a while since you housed and educated me. I thought we had a deal. I gave you my money. You gave me a piece of paper and a crippling sense of inadequacy, but they gave me this cinder block room, smelled like stale beer and regret, covered in a Reservoir Dogs poster and the first real heartbreak of my life and probably HPV. And that's it. That's the ROI? Man, what even is college? Seriously, somebody tell me, because I went and I still ain't got a clue. I was 18, looked like a thumb with hair, living like a Ninja Turtle on a diet of cigarettes, Adderall and Natty Light. It was a 4-year-long game show. Do my friends hate me or do I just need to sleep? But instead of winning money, you just lose a fortune. And the kicker? I agreed to this deal when I was 17, no lawyer present, wearing sweatpants with pizza sauce on the knee. That's gotta be illegal, right? They tricked me like Brendan Dassey on Making a Murderer. Pulled me out of high school, 2 guys in clip-on ties like, come on, son, do the right thing, sign here, you'll be an English major. And I fell for it. An English major. 120 grand so some professor could tell me to read Jane Austen and then I didn't. Y'all can laugh, but that's the worst financial decision I ever made, and I once bought a used jet ski from a guy named Bubba who claimed it was slightly haunted.
All right. So let me tell y'all something. Growing up in Louisiana, we had this old beagle named Blue, right? Dumber than a box rocks, but loved him to death. This dog, I swear, thought his own farts were a gift from God. Chase his tail round and round, snapping at that phantom smell like he just cornered the Easter Bunny. Reminds me, kinda, of how folks are treating this whole AI thing, you know? Sniffing around something they don't understand, thinking it's gonna solve all their problems, when really it's just gonna leave them gagging on its digital flatulence. I'm telling you, this AI stuff, it's, like when my cousin Earl tried to make moonshine in his bathtub, sounded good on paper, ended up with a whole lot of nothing but regret, in a bathroom that smelled like burnt tires. See, everybody's talking about how AI is going to revolutionize education, personalized learning, make every kid a genius, but I'm looking at it like Earl's bathtub moonshine. A lot of hype, a little bit of potential, and a whole heap of things that can go sideways real quick. They say it's going to adapt to each student's pace, give them custom-tailored lessons like some kind of learning concierge, but I'm thinking, what happens when the AI gets bored? What happens when it decides little Timmy needs to learn about the mating habits of the Bolivian tree lizard instead of fractions? You think that algorithm cares that little Timmy's got a math test next week? Hell no, that algorithm's going to be off chasing digital butterflies, leaving Timmy in the dust with a bunch of tree lizard facts he can't use to save his life, just like when old Blue was chasing that fart, got nothing but air, and learned less than the dirt he snuffled. Oh, man. All right. So, listen, I was thinking about my Uncle Dale. Bless his heart, used to train squirrels to water ski, I ain't kidding. Little these skis, garden hose rigged up to a kiddie pool, pure Louisiana genius right there. But that ain't the story. Nope, it's like, remember them old gas station attendants, the ones who checked your oil and kicked the tires? That's how I feel sometimes trying to piece together this whole abortion doctor situation. Like, how do you end up there, you know? Is there some kind of career day where they hand out pamphlets saying, want to work with tiny humans, but like not really? I mean, what's the graduation speech like? Go forth and prosper, but maybe not. Listen, I ain't judging, just asking questions like a possum looking at a shiny hubcap. Pure curiosity, I dig. But seriously, let me give a shout out to this Helium Club in St. Louis. Feels like home here, better than my grandma's chitlins. And you gotta support real comedy, not just that TikTok garbage, cause I got some buddies coming through. Brian Cowan, Tony Hinchcliffe, these boys are sharper than a badger's claw. But listen, my boy Tom Segura, he's been having a rough time, arthritis of the jaw. Can you believe that? From eating too much, too fast, like a damn garbage disposal choking on a Thanksgiving turkey. Doctors wired his jaw shut. Poor fella looking like a mumbling woodpecker, can't even tell jokes, gotta slurp his gumbo through a straw in those keto protein bars. Lord have mercy, that's some high-grade suffering right there. He'll be here in July, just got his wires cut fresh as a newborn calf, so y'all show him some love, cause that boy is funnier than a screen door on a submarine. So raise your glass to Tom Segura. May his jaw heal quick and his jokes land harder than a wet sack of flour. Man, I was just back in my hometown, you know, in Orange or Louisiana, population smaller than the number of teeth my Uncle Earl lost to possum wrestling.
And this fella, bless his hair, tried to connect with me over grits at the Waffle House. Grits. Like, that's the best we got, buddy. But it got me thinking, see all these gigs, city after city, and folks are always asking, Theo, are people the same everywhere? And I tell you, some places are like a stale gas station burrito. Just plain wrong. But underneath all that, deeper than the mud on a gator wrestler's boots. Everybody, and I mean everybody, just wants to connect, you know? Like when you see a hound dog and you just know you got to give it a belly rub. It ain't about the language. It ain't about the fancy cars or the teeth. It's just that human or canine urge to link up. And when you got chemistry with someone, that real stuff, it's like finding a $20 bill in your grandpa's overalls. Pure gold. Do you want to hang, maybe date, maybe even, and I ain't judging, maybe you want to bury him 18 miles west of Lake Worth and get a little thrill every time you drive by. We all have our things, right? But sometimes, Lord have mercy, sometimes there ain't nothing there, like trying to make sweet tea with salt water. I'm checking in at this hotel the other week, see, and this dude behind the counter, he hits me with the small talk shotgun. Where you from? Los Angeles, I say, hoping to shut it down quick. But he's like, oh yeah, I got family in Denver. I'm thinking, dang, what are the odds? Then he drops the bomb. Yeah, they got a furniture store. I'm trying to be nice. I like to sit on furniture. So I was at this crawfish boil back home, right? Uncle Bobby, bless his heart, tries to deep fry a whole watermelon. I swear to God, he saw it on Pinterest. Anyway, it explodes like a damn grenade, watermelon shrapnel everywhere. Nobody gets hurt, just covered in sugary goo and regret, mostly Bobby's. Reminded me of this one time I wrestled a gator at a church camp. Don't ask. But it got me thinking about the Travel Channel, which, yeah, they call me a professional fun seeker. Sounds like something a robot would say after its programming goes haywire. I'd rather be called professional dumbass, because at least that sounds like me. I ain't fought no bear despite what the internet says, though I did once try to teach a possum to play the banjo. That's a story for another time and another bottle of sweet tea, but the Travel Channel's website is worse than dial-up internet in a Walmart parking lot. Man, I remember back home, Shreveport, Louisiana, we had this cat, Cletus. It looked just like a possum wearing a MAGA hat, always yelling about the government. Cletus, bless his heart, thought fluoride in the water was a conspiracy to turn us all into frogs. Frogs, I tell you. And it reminds me of something Shane Gillis said, right? Gillis, that's a name that rings like a rusty old church bell, you know? He had this joke darker than my mama's burnt gumbo about Trump getting shot. Now, I ain't wishing no harm on nobody, except maybe mosquitoes and telemarketers. But Gillis painted this picture, see, Trump standing there, mouth running faster than a coon dog after a squirrel, probably bragging about his golf score, then bam, out of nowhere, just goes, like a busted lawnmower. And that's the kind of humor that sticks to your ribs like gravy on a biscuit. It's wrong, but it's funny, like seeing a squirrel wearing underpants. But then Gillis, that wild card, throws Biden in the mix, saying he's so out of it. You could just walk up and boop, tap him on the nose, no security guard even bat an eye, just Mr. President, how the hell are you? Like, he's a stray dog you just met. It's like, dang, that's savage, almost like comparing a Ferrari to a horse-drawn buggy. Ain't saying it's right, ain't saying it's wrong, just saying it's something. Makes you think, you know? Makes you think about how weird this whole dang world is, kind of like seeing a cat driving a tractor, pure chaos. All right, so I was down in Loringer, Louisiana, see, back when the only thing hotter than the humidity was my aunt Shirley's perm after bingo night. And I swear we had this neighbor, Ehrlich, who claimed he could talk to squirrels, like full-on conversations. And Earl, bless his heart, he ran a boat cleaning business, but only in Tampa, Florida, because he said the squirrels there gave him the best business leads, which, now that I think about it, might be as believable as cleaning boats in Tampa, but hey, at least it ain't as crazy as my buddy over here selling serial killer tour maps. Like, here's where Dahmer got his dry cleaning done. Real dark tourist stuff, you know. Speaking of dark, my other buddy here reminds me of Gerard Depardieu. Like, the man could be wrestling a bear while eating a wheel of brie, just living life to the fullest. Which brings me to the point. See, if these two fellas were going to get their lives told in a movie, it'd be like casting Zac Efron as one of them, all chiseled and ready to rise, and Ethan Suplee as the other, kind of mirroring their style, yeah. Now back when Ethan Suplee was still in his prime, before all the weight loss, before he could show off his shoulders on Baywatch. And let me tell you, these boys here, their lives, it's like a breakfast of champions. All right, more like coffee, burger, powerlifting, pizza, coffee, chicken wings, and podcasts. Italian food and edibles, and never-ending edible sleep,
a breakfast sandwich versus an Italian turkey with extra meat, like spicy Italian at Subway, but with turkey and ham. You know, put these fellas in a horror movie, it'd be all suck and stick or scream and run. But honestly, they do the opposite of what they're told, screaming as loud as possible, running like hell until it starts attacking and the other one is there. That it's, you know what? That's how it would go, I promise. If we raided their fridge right now, we'd find mayo, Kool-Aid, and Diet Coke, pizza, beer, and Diet Coke, a whole damn ecosystem of questionable choices. And who'd be the first to take a sip? Definitely me. I'd be like, there's got to be some alcohol in this, right? Hey, have you had a drink? Let me drink your piss. I hope you learned something about the power of friendship, because we sure did. And you can find my wilderness antics on Netflix. The Cabin. All right, so next time you and your friends are in the woods just trying to chill, remember, if you happen across a bunch of pissed off squirrels, there is definitely an Earl nearby.
All right, settle down, y'all. Let me tell you something. Grew up in Louisiana, right? Small town, like if you blink, you miss it. And even when you do see it, you probably wish you missed it. We had this guy, Cletus, lived down the road, only had one tooth right in the front, like a dang picket fence with a hole in it. Cletus swore he could talk to squirrels. Said they told him secrets about where the best peckins were. Now, Cletus wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed, but he did have an opinion about everything, just like this lady in the front row here, bless her heart. You know, it reminds me of this whole teacher thing. I was never one to rag on teachers. No, I actually kind of liked them, probably because back then teacher porn was my go-to. Wrecked my after school. Every time my teacher, Miss Crabtree, even looked at me talking about you're in a lot of trouble. I'm thinking she trying to seduce me, not tell my mama I drew on the desk again. And now people ask me, Theo, you watch teacher porn? Well, yeah, but it's got to be the right kind of teacher. Nobody want to see some meathead from Staten Island. No offense to anyone from Staten Island, but you know what I'm talking about. But hey, let me ask you something. You ever look at a student, maybe a year out of high school, and think, maybe. Nah, just me. All right. I'm just saying, there's something about that forbidden fruit, that danger, you know? Like dating a PE teacher, they always walking around in sweatpants, giving you that look, thinking what could be. What am I supposed to say? I'm supposed to say like Staten Island, that's like stepping back into the 1950s. They probably haven't even heard of the Me Too movement yet. But what's the point there? The protection of people like that is almost non-existent. You go there and get eaten alive. Say that those girls will wake up and not even realize how bad they played it off. That or they will be too busy complaining to remember I even said anything. You go there and end up with manic depression, ADHD, just one way to go when people are that far behind, I suppose. Man, you know, growing up in Louisiana, we had this neighbor, Mr. Thibodeau, smelled like catfish and regret. Always said, Theo, son, sometimes it pays to do a damn fool. And I never understood it till I saw my buddy Earl get fired from Bubba's Bait and Beer. See, Earl thought he was slick, thought he was a swamp ninja, kept tasting the inventory, you know, for quality control like he was sommelier or Bud Light. But Bubba, he ain't no dummy. Bubba's got eyes like a hawk and a heart full of diesel, so Bubba calls Earl in and says, Earl, you've been lubricating your tonsils a little too liberally, ain't you? And Earl, bless his pea-picking heart, he says, Bubba, I quit, like he's sticking it to the man. When Bubba was already halfway to writing him up for stealing beer, reminded me of when I tried to sneak out of Sunday school after the sermon about Noah's Ark. Thought I was being all sneaky like a damn raccoon in a hen house. But Miss Gertrude, bless her soul, she caught me by the ear. Said, where you think you going, Theodore? The good Lord sees everything. Which brings me to this whole thing about guys getting rewarded for being, well, less than stellar. Like this dude I saw online, bragging about quitting his job before they could fire him for, let's just say, unprofessional conduct. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Like he's some kind of rep, a modern-day Robin Hood stealing from the less fortunate interns. Reminds me of my cousin Ricky, who dropped out of community college, 'cause he said quantum physics was for nerds. Now he's trying to start a gator wrestling business. Says it's the next big thing. People are actually giving him money. Makes you wonder, don't it? Like, are we living in a world where the biggest goofballs get the gold stars? My other buddy's talking about cleaning boats. Claims he's turning his life around, right? Sure you are, bud. More likely he just ran out of bail money. These hangovers in my early 20s used to feel fun. Now every shot of Jack feels like one step closer to becoming a middle-aged guy who cleans boats and blames his daddy for his problems, dang. All right, y'all, let me tell you something about them early hustles before the spotlight found this Louisiana boy. Reminds me of my Uncle Dale. Bless his heart, thought he could train squirrels to water ski. Spent 6 months in a whole lot of pecans, ended up with squirrels that just knew how to drown fancy. Speaking of drowning, remember working at this Office Max, right? They wanted me to greet folks like I was selling salvation. Welcome to Office Max. How can I help you? Take it to the max. Sounded like something them televangelists say before they ask you to donate your social security check. Couldn't do it. Felt like I was lying to folks. I was better at Aviation Joint, where my grandma worked. And I remember going out with a girl from work who was proud of her promiscuous ways. Then I did some time vacuuming, but in a weird way where I threw dirt in front of people and then vacuumed it up. After that, I tracked shipments for sperm clinics like a FedEx for baby juice, making sure that precious cargo arrived on time, like Santa Claus, but with more bodily fluids. I even drove a dog van that one time, Dumb and Dumber style, wrestling rich folks' yappy chihuahuas into that metal death trap. And there was waiting tables where folks recognized me from Comic View, asking if I was the one on the show. Was you on Comic View? They'd be like, bread in the wing or leg in the thigh. That job eventually got me punched in the face and knocked unconscious, but hey, at least I got a free hamburger out of it. Oh, and lifeguarding and selling sneakers. And well, it's all in my book, Life Lessons, which nobody's read. Go get it and then check out my other book on Audible, because who has time to read anymore? Kevin here's got promo at Edis, bless his heart, can't stop hustling his Jumanji 2 tapes. And that's the damn truth, y'all. Truth, like a possum playing dead in the middle of I-10. Gotta swerve to miss it. And maybe that possum knows something we don't. Maybe he's onto something big, like a new way to monetize possum roadkill. Now there's an idea. Man, I swear to God, reminds me of Uncle Hank back in Louisiana. Used to wear a tinfoil hat, said the government was listening through his fillings. Now this fella right here, he's like Uncle Hank, but instead of the government, it's me. Just me and my jokes, right? He's heckling me all night, quieter than a mouse pissing on cotton, front row seat, just for me. Every joke lands flatter than a pancake in a microwave, and he's whispering, "You suck, Theo, you're worse than day-old gas station sushi," and I'm trying to ignore him like a mosquito at a nudist colony, but eventually the dam bursts, you know? I snap like a Slim Jim in a freezer, and I tell him, "Buddy, you're about as useful as a screen door on a submarine." And the whole back of the room, they didn't hear a damn thing. They're all like, "Whoa, Theo, what's gotten into you?" They're siding with him. This dude who looks like he dresses exclusively from the Lost and Found at a bowling alley, and he's just eating it up, smiling like a possum eating a sweet potato. So I lay into him. I mean, I dissect him like a frog in a high school science class, and finally I get something about his haircut, looking like a Lego man after a car accident. And that's it. He's had enough. He storms the stage. This is where it gets good. I'm up on a riser, feeling like friggin' Gandalf holding back the Balrog. He's climbing the stairs, and I give him the nod. The international sign for "you shall not pass," and finally a bouncer shows up, looks like a retired rodeo clown, and escorts him out. Turns out, this dude was dressed head to toe in Star Wars gear from Comic-Con, so naturally I called him a virgin, and that's what finally pushed him over the edge. Which I gotta say, maybe I went too far, but hey, sometimes the truth hurts more than a paper cut on your eyeball. All right, check this out. Grew up in the sticks, right? Had this buddy, Cletus, bless his heart, thought mayonnaise was a musical instrument, swear to God. Anyway, saw this lady the other day bragging about having 4 Rugrats, saying she ain't changed a bit, and I'm thinking, honey, you're a walking red flag, a full-blown circus of instability. That's what you are. It ain't gotta be nothing drastic like trading your minivan for a monster truck, but a fella's gotta take stock, you know? Me, I'm proud of what I kicked to the curb, arguing. Used to bicker with everyone from my grandma to the darn squirrels in the backyard, but now, nah. Someone starts throwing verbal haymakers, I just flip them the bird. Figuratively, mostly, they're like, "Theo, I disagree," and I'm all, "Yep, you're right. I'm on your side now." Their heads spin like a dog chasing its tail. All right. Settle down, folks. Let me tell you about my Aunt Shirley. Sweet lady. Bless her heart. Used to collect porcelain dolls. Hundreds of them. Crepey little buggers staring at her like they knew your deepest, darkest secrets. Anyway, she swore one blinked at her once. Said it was a sign from Elvis, who apparently communicated through antique dolls now. That's about as believable as trying to explain something on the internet these days. It's all just absolutes, like that Kaepernick fella taking a knee, trying to talk about police brutality. Something real, something that needs addressing, but folks just heard knee and saw a flag and lost their dying minds. My brother's fighting in Iraq. They yell like Kaepernick's knee was causing sandstorms or something. It's like trying to explain to a squirrel that acorns are food, not currency. Just ain't gonna happen. Reminds me of trying to get abs. Remember that? Used to think I'm gonna have a six-pack by summer. Ended up looking like I swallowed a keg. The effort involved. Lord have mercy, personal trainers yelling at you. Chefs making you eat sprouts that taste like sadness. Electrocution making you question your life choices. All for something you can achieve by breathing wrong. Meanwhile, getting fat. Now that's effortless. Just lay on the couch, shoveling in those sweet, salty treasures like a dang gopher. No trainer needed. Just pure unadulterated bliss. See, growing up, my family wasn't exactly huggy. More like two cacti trying to dance. Awkward and prickly. First hug I remember was when I moved out, and it was just bam, done, like two parking meters bumping uglies. Haunts me to this day. I gotta yell at that memory sometimes just to shut it up. Shower regret is real. Let me tell you, that's where all the dumb stuff I did in third grade comes back to haunt me. But I asked my mama about the lack of affection. You know what she said? Your daddy didn't want me hugging you boys, might make you gay. Lord have mercy. That's like saying, eating grits will make you speak Cajun. It's just plain wrong. But she was protecting him. See, he was afraid of raising sissies. So he sacrificed our hugs for the sake of machismo. It's twisted, I know, but hear me out. That's family, right? My dad was trying to improve on his childhood. Probably grew up in a barn where affection was a sign of weakness. So he took it from don't change his diaper, let him wallow in his own filth, to no hugs or else. And maybe, just maybe, if I ever have a kid, I'll take it one step further. No drama class. I'll yell, not 'cause I hate drama. Well, maybe a little, but 'cause I'm improving on my dad's childhood. Keeping the grit, tossing the hug phobia, you know? It's not homophobic, folks. Daddy issues, manifested as a deep-seated fear of velvet costumes and interpretive dance. Unless we at Fame High School, then throw cottage cheese at everybody. Alright, West Palm Beach, or is it Palm Beach? Either way, it's hot. Just like that time my Uncle Buster tried to deep fry a watermelon at the county fair. Total disaster. Speaking of disasters, someone back there yelled pressure, but they don't even know why. What in the tarnation? It's like asking a goat to explain quantum physics. Ain't gonna happen, folks. You know, I once asked my Aunt Shirley what the capital of Nebraska was, and she said tractors. True story. But this woman, she's right up there with Shirley, bless her heart. Big Latino fellow over here, though, looking sharp. Oscar, they call him. Probably gets all the Cuban votes just by going up. Head held high like a pelican looking for a stray fish. 6'3", built like a brick outhouse, as my grandpa used to say. And that hair looks like it was sculpted by Michelangelo himself out of Lego bricks. Poor bald guy next to him is probably ready to throw his dentures at the stage. Now this woman, she's with Oscar, his girlfriend, at 28. Honey, back in my neck of the woods, you ain't married by 28. They start whispering at you like you got a third eye or something. But she's Colombian, you know, different rules apply. It's like comparing a possum to a raccoon, and they both dig in the trash, but they got their own ways. Yeah, Colombians, they got arepas, right? That's it's a claim to fame. Oh, and that sniff? No, that ain't what you thinking, folks. Probably just a stray pollen particle from one of those fancy Colombian flowers, making them look like they're auditioning for a role in Scarface. Speaking of faces, this woman, the one who knows everything now, suddenly an expert, like she just downloaded the entire internet into her brain while we were talking about watermelons and bald guys. But I bet she didn't know they got fake noses over there. Probably hollowed out on the inside to fit all the extra memories, or maybe just to snort arepa seasoning more efficiently. I don't know. I'm just a country boy trying to make sense of it all, one bizarre observation at a time. All right. Settle down, y'all. Let me mail you something. Grew up in this town, see, smaller than a gnat's patootie, where the biggest excitement was when the Dollar General got a new shipment of off-brand cheese puffs. My mama, bless her heart, she used to say I had the social skills of a feral cat, which fair enough, because I preferred hanging with the stray dogs down by the creek, trying to teach them Shakespeare, because, you know, even mutts deserve a little culture. One time I swear I saw Old Blue, hound dog, with one ear missing. I swear he almost understood Hamlet's soliloquy, or maybe he just wanted a biscuit. Hard to tell with dogs. They're kind of like politicians, always looking for something. But see, that's how I always been. connecting dots that ain't even close to each other, like trying to make a gourmet meal out of roadkill and ketchup packets, which, by the way, I actually tried once, don't recommend it. Anyway, all that to say, folks are always asking, Theo, how do you do it? How do you find the funny in everyday life? And I tell them it's like finding a 4-leaf clover in a cow pasture. You got to wade through a whole lot of crap first. Which brings me to this thing about like people feeling disconnected. Like they're wandering through life wearing socks with sandals, just completely missing the mark, you know? See, we're all just searching for something. A connection, a purpose, maybe just a decent Wi-Fi signal, but we get so caught up in the noise, the Instagram filters and the political arguments that sound like two squirrels fighting over a walnut. We forget to look around and see the actual real deal beauty, the goofy, imperfect, beautifully flawed human connections all around us. And we're so caught up in trying to be somebody else. Some Instagram influencer with a butt the size of a small car and a life that's probably as fake as a $3 bill, that we miss out on the chance to be ourselves, warts and all. Because let me tell you something, those warts, those flaws, those weird quirks that make you are the things that people actually connect with. That's the 4-leaf clover. That's the good stuff. That's what makes life worth living. Even if you are wearing socks with sandals. And maybe, just maybe, especially if you are, because hey, at least you're comfortable. And that's more than most people can say. And at the end of the day, ain't that what it's all about? Being comfortable in your own skin, even if it's covered in mosquito bites and smells faintly of fertilizer. Just own it. Be you. Be weird. Be wonderful. And for the love of Pete, stop taking selfies with duck faces. Nobody wants to see that, unless you're actually a duck. Then go wild. Quack it up, baby. Quack it up. All right. So, listen, I was back home in Louisiana last summer, right? Visiting my mama, bless her heart. She's got this Chihuahua named Killer. Thinks he's a dang Rottweiler. Always nipping at my ankles. Makes you want to punt him into next Tuesday. Anyway, Mama's watching this award show, and they're giving some dude an award. I think it was for selling insurance or something, but it got me thinking about Kevin Hart. Yeah, Kevin Hart. That little dude with the big heart. Ain't that a country song title? Wait, what was I saying? Oh yeah, Kevin. See, there's guys out there like Jerry Seinfeld. Great dudes. Funny as all get out. Wearing the crown of comedy. And let me tell you, that crown ain't no Burger King paper hat. It's heavy, man. Like Mama's cast iron skillet after she's cooked a whole mess of catfish, you know? But Kevin, he wears it like a ball cap backwards, like he's still running the bases. And that dude, he sold 500 million tickets. That's more than people at a Walmart on Black Friday. I tell you what, that's biblical. That's Noah's Ark full of people watching him. And I checked, because that's how I do. I get my facts straight like a Baptist preacher, and he ain't just funny. He's a good dude. Helps people out. Goes back to Philly, which, let's be honest, takes guts. It's like wrestling a gator, you know, but he does it, and he probably feels like trash sometimes. We all do. Like that time I ate a whole bag of gas station sushi, but you'd never know it. Never see him fate. See, I wish he was there when I got my dang trophy. He's one of the greatest men I've ever met. It's like, I'm honored to know him, like meeting Dolly Parton, only funnier and with better abs, probably. And that's the truth. Even if it is like a fever dream after a crawfish boil. All right. Settle down, y'all. Let me tell you something. Veen grew up in Louisiana, right? Place flatter than a pancake, more humidity than a frog's armpit. I had this buddy, Earl, bless his heart. Earl thought he was a Ninja Turtle. Not like the cool kind, like the sewer rat kind, you know? Always wearing green, heading in the ditch, eating whatever crawled by. Now Earl, he was convinced he was saving the city, even though the biggest crime we had was Mrs. Higgins' cat stealing Mr. Thibodeau's shrimp. Man, I'm down in Orange County, right? Real deal OC. Not that fake LA garbage. And I hear this story about a chopper dude. Pops built this tour business for 38, like clockwork, then hands it off to his son, American Dream kind of stuff, right? Like, son, here's the keys. Don't screw it up. Keep the Von Erichs of helicopter tours going. And the kid's all right, Dad, love you too, gonna make you proud. Probably had 4 kids already, that traditional life they push on you. 5 days later, 5 days from balloons, and a congratulatory cake. This kid, he's probably barely got the script down. Like, yeah, folks, look to your left. Beautiful Orange County, 27 miles of beaches. Seatbelts, please. But only one dude shows up for a couple's tour. Red flag, right? But bills gotta get paid. So they hop in, 10 minutes in. This guy just yeets himself out the door like a reverse Houdini, straight into the Pacific. I'm thinking, what in the actual tarnation? 5 days in, this kid's already got a story that'll be on I Shouldn't Be Alive. But turns out, the jumper, a 61-year-old, was riddled with something awful. Chronic pain, doctors throwing up their hands. Figured he'd had enough, and in my book, that's a goddamn hero. He wasn't gonna go out like some sissy overdose on pills while watching The Notebook under Nana's quilt. No, he went full Evel Knievel. Think about it, soaring over the land he loved. Then bam, swan dive to freedom. Shoulda had a cape on, I'm telling ya. He probably had his feet on the dashboard, chugging a Dr. Pepper, not even listening to the tour spiel, just thinking adios. But here's the kicker. The cherry on top of this crazy sundae, the dude lived 500 feet above the ocean. You'd think that'd be a wrap. But he must have hit the water like Greg Louganis. Minimal splash. Except witnesses said it looked more like a mannequin getting tossed out, so probably a belly flop of epic proportions, like a seal trying to do a cannonball. But listen, that don't change nothing. The intention was there. I still respect the hell out of this guy. I just feel bad cause on the way down he's probably thinking 3 more seconds of pain, 2 more seconds. Oh God, this is worse. This is way worse. It does have a happy-ish ending though. He passed away later at the hospital. So here's to him, God bless him, and I hope someday I have the sheer audacity to orchestrate a grand finale like that. Even if I botch the landing, just a dude trying to stick it to the man in the sky. Even if he just ends up looking like a big ol' sea pancake.
Man, let me tell you, I can't do those books on tape. Nah, not my jam. People try to make it sound all interesting with the voices and the up and down talking. It makes me want to crawl out of my skin because I'm thinking, this guy thinks I'm a friggin' idiot, you know? Like they're reading it like, and then in 1862, read it like a bailiff, man. You know the deal? I remember one time this bailiff read this thing, said the arresting officer asked the defendant where he was coming from, and he stated, in Boston, and I was like, whoa, hold on, that's not how I said it. I was hammered trying to remember. He asked where I came from, and I was like, fuck it, Boston. And the cop goes, fucking Boston? You want to get out of the car? I wasn't a jerk, though. I was standing there. All these people who mug folks were laughing like, this guy's sticking it to the man. So then he's like, we pulled the defendant over, repeatedly asked him to stay in the car. He got out, threw his keys at my feet, and said, lock me up, I'm fucked up. It was hilarious, right? Remember that dude who'd take his shot, and whenever anyone puked, he'd stand in the corner facing the wall. We called him Blair Witch. Everyone got there eventually, so I'm crying, laughing, gagging as I tell the story, and my girl's like, where do they find these people? That sent me over the edge, man. Just crying, laughing. But God bless him, because the reason that thing's screaming is because it's biting its own back. Which honestly sounds like me trying to touch my toes every morning, you know? Anyway, where do we go from there? I don't know, maybe you get eaten by a bear. And if a bear gets a hold of a regular neck just complies, just gives right up. Heck, you should call your neck special regular neck. I guarantee no one's going to accidentally steal that title. Speaking of weirdos, there was this dude on a construction site, wore the same jeans every day, no underwear, and a giant hole in the thigh. I swear I'm working in the house and he steps over something. The hole moves and bam, full-on junk flash right in my face. I didn't know how to confront people back then, and I was the new guy, so I just wanted to be like, buddy, maybe throw on some boxers so I don't gotta stare at your dangly bits. Especially since he's walking around with a nail gun. Boxers might not stop a nail, but any extra layer of clothing would be nice, you know? He was just letting it all hang out like an owl looking out of a tree, and it's burned into my brain. I could pick his junk out of a lineup, and all those people paying to be there. That guy's making bank, man. I want to see someone scalping tickets to see his junk. He does Vegas, too, at the T-Mobile Arena. I want to see a picture of him up there, eyes open, smiling and everything. It's crazy the money he's making. I used to say he's so full of it, he can't look at the crowd like his eyes are checking. Are they still here, still believe in this beat? When you're lying, eye contact's the toughest thing ever, but whatever, he's making people feel good. He's in show business. I want to see the show, though. The few times I did movies, everyone was like, you just missed it, man. It all ended in '05. They were like, oh my God, they were paying for John Travolta's jet fuel. He'd show up in his own 747 to do one of those Wild Hogs movies, and they'd be like, okay, John, gotta pay for the plane. And they're like, oh, John, like it's just understood.
It goes without saying, if someone swipes your credit card number, that's their money now, right? Then they call you up and say, hey, Joe, did you buy a ham hock at Vancouver at a strip club? And you're like, what? No, I was in Burbank. And they say, good luck with that. Has anyone ever bought a ham hock in a strip club? Man, you've given me every piece of the elk except that I've got some ham hock for you. What do you fantasize about doing to the credit card thief, though? Oh, just running, just getting the heck away. I don't want to hurt him. The guy's hurt by life, so damaged. I just want to get gone.
I always picture those scammer folks, and I have a giant roll of duct tape, and I just put it on their mouth like a cartoon, not like speed, more like cartoon level. I put it on their mouth and go, mm. And the last one comes up and over their head, the rest of the roll hanging down awkwardly, and I just go back to eating, and they got to sit there and slowly peel it off. The only way I could get through that basketball game was if I already told my wife the guy annoyed me, and then I'd just egg him on. Why doesn't he play him? And she'd start kicking me under the table because she was laughing. Hey everyone, I'm Ivanka Trump. She's like Tracy Lord's sister in the 80s, got good looking kids, amazing. She's good looking too. Good for him, good for him. And if Bill Clinton wants to vaguely look in the direction of a beautiful woman, that's his right, you know? All right, folks, let me tell you about something I saw back home in Louisiana. This old fella, Cletus, bless his heart, he thought camouflage made him invisible, wore it at the grocery store. The bank even wore it to his own dang divorce hearing, claimed his wife couldn't see him to serve the papers. Judge wasn't buying it, looked at him like he was a squirrel trying to pay for nuts with bottle caps. But anyway, it reminded me of something way bigger, something on the news. See, it's like this whole China, Taiwan, Australia, America shebang. It's like Cletus trying to hide in plain sight, thinking nobody notices him stuffing crawfish down his overalls at the Piggly Wiggly, but really everybody's just politely pretending not to see. So this Taiwan thing, right? Everyone's all puffed up with their chests out, and I'm just, hang on a second, are we even going to know who we're fighting anymore? I mean, you see how many folks are rocking those free Hong Kong shirts with the same kind of confused look I get when I try to assemble IKEA furniture. It's like trying to tell the difference between a possum and a raccoon in the dark. Both got pointy noses and beady eyes, and you probably don't want to mess with either one, you know? We're going to need some kind of system, some kind of, I don't know, secret handshake, maybe a password like the crawfish boil is at Aunt Mildred's, and if they answer bring the boudin, then we know they're on our side otherwise. Well, it's going to be a real dang cluster, like trying to herd cats through a car wash, I'm telling you. And don't even get me started on the accent thing. I mean, I can barely understand my own mama when she's talking about the gizzard she found at the butcher shop. How am I supposed to decipher Mandarin, Taiwan, or whatever else they're speaking over there while the missiles are flying? So I'm just saying we need a plan, a real down-home common sense plan. Maybe we just give everyone a breathalyzer, whoever blows the highest wins, or maybe just maybe we all just sit down, share a plate of fried okra, and figure out how to avoid this whole mess in the first place, because war, folks, is like a hangover after a crawfish boil. Nobody really wins, and everyone ends up regretting something they did. Man, I swear, I knew this fella back home, Boudreaux, used to win stuffed animals at the county fair like it was his job. Not because he was good at the games, because he just hollered the loudest at the carny folks till they gave him something to shut him up. Kind of like what's going on here tonight, though. I ain't giving nobody no giant stuffed cat unless that claw machine's rigged, like my Uncle Earl's tractor after he had a few too many natty lights, which, come to think of it, might explain some of the medical profession these days, because I'm looking at you, nurse in training, and I ain't saying you ain't going to be a good one. But you remind me of that time I tried to give my dog Roger cough medicine, and he just looked at me like, Theo, what in the Sam Hill are you doing? And then promptly threw it all back up. And that's how I feel right now, like I'm trying to force feed something to someone who ain't hungry. And meanwhile, her poor boyfriend over there is probably wishing he was watching paint dry, 'cause even that'd be more interesting than listening to me wrangle a drunk heckler who thinks she's got a free pass to the comedy rodeo. But hey, at least she's making money at her job, which, let me tell you, is a miracle in itself these days. Especially with these darn AI robots taking over, it makes you wonder if one day we'll all be replaced by robots who yell louder than Boudreaux at the county fair. And then what's a fellow to do but just sit back and watch the world burn? Or maybe just find a quiet corner and teach Roger some new trick, 'cause at least he ain't going to tell me to go back to jokes. All right. So I was back home in Louisiana last summer, right? Visiting my Aunt Karen. Bless her heart, she still calls the internet the web like it's 1998, and she's got to catch some digital flies in it. And she's showing me these articles on her iPad, screen cracked like a bayou riverbed after a drought. And she's going on about hot moms this and hot moms that. And I'm thinking, Aunt Karen, you're trying to be hip, but you're about as hip as a square dancing convention at a Cracker Barrel. And right, she keeps saying it's the algorithm, but all this online self-care stuff for moms, is it real? It reminds me of this time I saw a raccoon trying to unlock a car door with a Slim Jim. Looked real dedicated, but you knew deep down it wasn't going to work, you know? And I'm not saying moms shouldn't take care of themselves. Lord knows they deserve a vacation to Aruba after birthing a human. I'm just saying back in my day, which was 81,
we saw more moms putting the family ahead of them, like my own mom running on fumes and coffee so dark you could see the future in it, doing the kids' homework, cleaning up puke after a Saturday night wedding, you know, the real mom stuff. So now these hot moms on Instagram, they doing all this yoga and like posing with their kids for the gram. It's all shiny and perfect, but are they teaching them anything useful? Can they even change a tire or tell a squirrel from a chipmunk? It's like, I appreciate the dedication, but you remember that kid falling down videos on YouTube that used to be accidental, like pure unfiltered chaos. Now they staged like a damn Shakespeare play. You see that kid walking toward that hot stove and the parents got the camera out, ready to hit that record button. It's like, go on, touch it, learn from your mistakes, anything for the clout, which is creepy, really creepy. Makes you wonder when the line of good parenting or just content gets crossed and it's a whole new world.
So I guess all I'm saying is let's bring back the messy, imperfect, real mom moments. The ones that don't get likes but make all the difference. Now, if you excuse me, I'm going to go sign posters, kiss babies, maybe learn how to unlock a car with a Slim Jim. Good night, y'all, and remember, stay weird. Man, growing up in Louisiana, we had this neighbor, Mr. Thibodeau, smelled perpetually like boiled crawfish and regret. Always wore a wife beater 3 sizes too small, you know, the kind that showed off his pecs, if you could call them that. More like deflated whoopee cushions. And he was obsessed with this one thing, figuring out which character he was in the Dukes of Hazzard. Like, was he Bo, Luke, maybe even Roscoe P. Coltrane chasing those boys down, right? And they got me thinking, see, now folks are at home binge watching these Real Housewives shows. Like my buddy Mulaney here, bless his heart, he's deep into the New York chapter. And he's trying to figure out where he'd fit in, what kind of drama he'd stir up. But it's like, nobody on those shows ever apologizes, you know? It's like, if I told Seth here he looked like a scarecrow stuffed with dryer lint, showed to events like a lovesick golden retriever, he's going to be hot. And I'd just be like, hey, let's put this behind us. You feel me? We good? And give him one of those shoulder hugs where you barely make contact. That's how them housewives do it. And it's wild because they're all so aware they're on TV. Like back in 2009, they'd be filming near like 1st and 70th and they'd be arguing, right? And one lady'd be all, I don't want to share that. And then the other ones be like, girl, we're on a reality show. Spill the sweet tea. And they got skinny girl margarita signs everywhere because they're all marketing themselves like performing monkeys in a tiny hat, which is kind of genius, right? Because you got to respect the hustle, but it also makes you wonder what parts of their lives are real and what parts are just a performance for the camera. You know, like, is that genuine outrage or is it just them practicing their Emmy Award acceptance speech in the mirror? Because either way, it's getting views and making money. So maybe Mr. Thibodeau was right. Maybe we're all just characters in somebody else's reality show, just trying to figure out our lines and hoping we don't get canceled or worse, become a meme, which at least he never smelled like boiled crawfish most. Now listen, I grew up in Louisiana, right? Where the only thing thicker than the humidity is the judgment at a potluck after church. And let me tell you, even I wouldn't trust myself to wrangle a herd of toddlers single-handedly. It's like trying to herd cats with a fishing pole dipped in molasses. I ain't got that kind of saintly patience those women got, Lord. They can discipline a kid, then go back to their book club like nothing happened, smiling sweeter than a sugared pecan. I'd be hotter than a hound dog chasing a rabbit in July. See, I try to be nice, I really do. Start off all gentle. Hey, now don't touch that sugar. Then 5 seconds later, I'm morphing into a Cajun drill sergeant, yelling, get over here, you little heathen. Put the thing down. I said, nah. It's like my blood pressure's tied directly to their level of chaos, and their chaos is usually at 100. It's my son, bless his heart, when he throws a tantrum. It ain't like a normal kid crying. He does this weird guttural moan, like a possum 7 in existential crisis. It's the dumbest thing I ever seen. But it also kind of scares me, I ain't gonna lie. One time I thumped him, just a little one, to knock him off balance. He didn't know what to do, like a squirrel trying to ice skate. But my daughter, she's a whole different breed. That girl's got me wrapped around her little finger tighter than a tick on a coonhound. I spoil her rotten. I admit it. That's what daddies do, right? But the crazy thing is, she knows she can play me. She's like a miniature Machiavelli in a tutu scheming against me and her mama. Man, let me tell you something. Growing up in Louisiana, we had this neighbor, Mr. Thibodeau, smelled like catfish bait and regret. Always wearing a wife beater, even at church, right? Anyway, old Thibodeau, he thought he was a comedian. told jokes that would make a scarecrow blush, but he had this one about a crawfish walking into a bar.
Nah.
I ain't telling it. It's terrible.
But it reminds me, people are getting so touchy these days. Like, my country's going plumb crazy. You know, Bryan Cranston, that Breaking Bad dude, he played a paralyzed fella in a movie, and folks got all riled up saying, why ain't a real paralyzed dude playing it? Like, hello, it's called AC Teching, you dummies. Imagine a paralyzed dude trying to act paralyzed. That's just being still and reading lines. That ain't no performance. Reminds me of my buddy Bill. He's been doing all right for himself, you know? He was in this Pete Davidson movie. He says he didn't get fired, could get cut. You never know, but seems like it went great. First time getting to work with Judd Apatow for real, not just on Pete's show, Crashing, which, by the way, folks should check out next June. Get this, Bill's doing Mandalorian, the Star Wars thing, which is nuts because he's a sports fan. Meathead barely knows what a lightsaber is. I'm like, Bill, you in Star Wars. You know what that's like? It's like when Joe DeRosa met Joe Torre, told me about this guy connected with the Yankees, the manager, Joe Tutelage. I corrected him. It's Torre, and he's all, is he a big guy? Does he make that face? I wanted to strangle him. He just wanted to go buy vintage shirts. So I told Bill, this year payback for me meeting Joe Torre. Now you got to wear a spacesuit that probably smells like Wookiee armpit, says he can't say much about it, all that Netflix secrecy, but you can see the back of his bald head in the trailer for half a second. That's because his head is a helmet already. Redundant to put a hat on a hat, like a clown wearing a second wig. That's how busy he is. He's finishing up season 4 of F is for Family, but stand-up's always #1, and he's always been generous, you know. Even when I was a nobody at the Comedy Store, he'd watch my sets, give me punchline tips. Always believed in me. Even when I was getting booked on TV shows and forgetting about my own hour, he saw something in me. Cool vibe and knows how to unleash the craze. Not like those guys who just yell and stay loud too long. Nah, Bill knows how to blow them back in their seats, then bring them back down smooth. It's a gift. I brought his name up the store, told everyone he's one of the nicest guys, and he came out and was like, you got to say that? I'm about to rant about people in wheelchairs. That means a lot. Being a newer comic, it's intimidating. But people did it for him, he remembers. Like Dave Chappelle told him something funny back in the early 2000s. He held on to that like a life raft in the comedy condos and hell rooms for years. Dave thinks I'm funny, he'd tell himself, kept him going. Even in the green room broom closets on the road, Bill said he was funny, carried him through those weekends. When you start out, you're lost, no confirmation, no roadmap, just looking around, seeing what other guys are doing, thinking you got to do the same, ping-ponging from one style to the next. Joe Kai comes in with a street team. Next thing you know, you're thinking you need a street team too, but it was just telling stories back at Nick's Comedy Stop, driving back in from Boston, finding the nearest comic, telling a story, getting a laugh, hearing the older guys telling their stories, wanting to have some yourself, something better than just a bad open mic. And then getting out on the road, hearing your friends suffer. That's where the comedy comes from. So remember, folks, go watch Bill Burr's special Paper Tiger on Netflix. Check out his tour dates at billburr.com. Listen to his Monday morning podcast, one of the best out there. And then maybe, just maybe, go call that weird neighbor you had growing up and tell him their jokes ain't that bad after all. Because honestly, folks, sometimes it's the Thibodeaus of the world that remind us what's truly funny, just like the time he tried to put a hat on a crawfish. Nah, I still can't tell you that one. It's just too dang awful. Man, Montreal, y'all are all right. Reminds me of shrimping back in Tickfaw, Louisiana, where the only thing louder than the mosquitoes was my Aunt Shirley and Aunt Uncle Dale for drinking all the RC Cola again. You know, that woman's voice could peel paint off a barn from 50 yards. That's the thing about women, ain't it? Up close, whispering sweet nothings could launch 1,000 ships, but try hearing them at a football game. Sounds like two squirrels fighting over a dropped pickle. Now that brings me to this whole first lady business. See, my grandma used to say, a chicken ain't got no business in the hen house if it ain't laying no eggs. And I'm thinking these first ladies, bless their hearts, they ain't elected, they ain't paying the bills. So why they gotta be running their mouths like a hound dog chasing a mail truck? Like, if you hire a fella to fix your leaky faucet, and his wife, who ain't never held a wrench in her life, starts telling him to reroute the pipes through the attic, you gonna look at her sideways, right? Just because you're married to the plumber don't make you a plumber. Now I'm hearing whispers about Hillary getting back in the game and scratching my head. How'd she become a senator anyway? Went straight from being the president's missus to sitting in Congress. Like she jumped the line at the crawfish boil. Should Tom Brady's wife be calling the plays for the Rams just because she married a football player? Ain't no magic powers transferred through matrimony. This all started with Nancy Reagan, bless her soul, waving her bony finger and telling us to just say no, like we was all just waiting for permission to quit huffing paint thinner than Hillary with her health care plan. Michelle preaching on 60 Minutes. Gotta give it to the Bushes, though. They kept their women in line. Barbara was silent as a church mouse, and the other one, Paige or Bethany, something like that. I ain't even sure of her name, but Dub had her on lockdown tighter than Fort Knox. Made sure she smiled and nodded when he told a joke. Now I'm hearing folks say a woman president's gonna change things, but I ain't buying it. The president makes, what, 400 grand a year? Try telling that to a Wall Street banker with $100 million bonus. Ain't gonna make a lick of difference if they got a dick or a clam, black or white. Nothing's gonna change till somebody gets froggy and starts going full Rambo on those gated communities, taking out the folks pulling the strings. Until then, it's just gonna be a different pair of tits telling us the same old song and dance. I'm staying at a hotel here. Love hotels, feel safe, lobby full of folks like a human shield if some axe murderer comes strolling. Hear the scream, got time to plan, barricade the door, turn on the shower, hide between the mattresses. Good old misdirection, used to stay in motels, now there's a recipe for a heart attack. Sleeping 2 feet from a door leading straight to the parking lot, any yahoo can kick it open, drag you out buck naked. Ain't nothing scarier than facing a chainsaw massacre in your underpants. You tell yourself you'll fight back, grab a lamp. But deep down, you'll just squeak like a chew toy and end up seeing nothing but carpet ceiling, looking back at your own pasty body anyway. This theater's alright. At least nobody said it's haunted. Every damn time you go to a theater, they gotta tell you about the ghost. Built-in 48 tribute to Rocket Richard. And we got a ghost named Michael. If you believe in ghosts past the age of 8, you're dumber than a box of rock. What's the end game for a ghost anyway? On a basement forever, waiting to spook the boiler repairman? If I was a ghost, I'd fly straight to the CIA headquarters. Sit in on meetings, go to the Super Bowl, find out what they're really saying in the hub, and spend an eternity trying to scare an accountant into solving my murder. I'd be looking for that damn RC Cola. That's where the real secrets are.
All right. Settle down, folks. You're looking good tonight. Real good. Reminds me of my cousin Skeeter's prize-winning hog, Mabel, all dressed up for the county fair. Shiny, expectant eyes, just hoping for a blue ribbon. Speaking of ribbons, I was helping my grandma, bless her heart, tie up her tomato plants last summer, and she says, Theo, life's like a tomato plant.
You gotta stake it, give it support, otherwise it'll just sprawl all over the place, getting all tangled up in the weeds. Now, Grandma's a smart woman, but sometimes she's chessing riddles like she's Yoda wearing a floral apron. They got me thinking about this Tom Brady fella. See, the GOAT, right? GOAT, they call him greatest of all time white guy, which, let me tell you, down in Louisiana, that's just a Tuesday. Man, last night was something, felt like I was wrestling a greased up pig in a mud pit of tequila and regret, But now got to trade the party hat for the daddy diaper bag because my whole damn family's got the tummy rumbles worse than a biker gang convention after a chili cook-off. And I got to be dad, which let me tell you is like asking a squirrel to pilot a spaceship. Ain't nobody ready for that kind of chaos. I'm the kind of dad who'd fart in a McDonald's cup, slap my hand over it like I caught a damn firefly, and then walk it over to my daughters all serious like, saying, girls, you ain't gonna believe this, but I just captured a few. Now I know what you're thinking, Theo. That's messed up. That's pure trailer park parenting. But hear me out. It's comedy, see? Because when they look in that cup expecting something magical, something like a tiny unicorn fart or whatever little girls dream about, and they just get a whiff of my swamp gas, their faces are priceless, like watching a puppy try to solve a Rubik's Cube. That's when you got to explain it to them. See, you got to break it down, telling girls daddy's teaching you comedy's a 101. It's all about edge direction, see? You thought you were getting fairy dust, but bam, fart cloud. They didn't get it. Of course, they ran to their mama, snitching like a couple of church mice, telling her I was making them eat farts. Which ain't true. It was more of a forced aromatherapy session if you want to get technical. And my wife blew a gasket, said I was scaring the kids. But I told her, I said, honey, you want equality in the workplace, you got to be able to take a fart to the face. It's like being initiated into the brotherhood of man. Every fella in this room knows what I'm talking about. But the best part, next morning, my youngest, that little hellion, is straddling my neck, trying to suffocate me with her tiny, slobbery self, while my older one's standing by, all innocent like, saying, Daddy, wake up, we got a joke for you. I open my eyes, half expecting to see they found my grandpa's old hunting rifle or something, but no, the little ankle biter says, guess what's in my hand, and I'm panicking, right? But then it dawns on me, every dad knows what's in her hand. It's the universal weapon of childhood. The silent but deadly, the old poop hand trick. I'm practically bursting with pride, thinking I taught her that. I created a monster. But then she says a punch in the mouth bang caught me completely off guard, I swear. I made a face like a basset hound that just got handed a lemon, and the two of them just lost it, rolling on the floor, laughing harder than hyenas at a tickle fight, until they realized I wasn't laughing. See, my girls, they got a sick sense of humor. I'm talking Dark Ages level of twisted. It's like they're being raised by a pack of raccoons who moonlight as stand-up comedians.
All right, folks, so there was this dude, right? Always late.
like consistently late, you know, the kind of late that makes you think he's got a side hustle as a time traveler messing with the Cretaceous period. And we'd be on his case. Even when he was pushing 40, he'd blame the traffic, which, come on, traffic's just God's way of saying slow down, enjoy the scenery, maybe find a possum to befriend. But nah, this fellow was traffic's nemesis, always battling the asphalt demons. And it got me thinking, it's tough asking someone to admit their flaws. Like, imagine my funeral, all sunshine and rainbows. Not a single mention of my rotten prince tendencies, which, let's be honest, I could be a real dillweed sometimes. Not intentionally, mind you, but like a puppy with a chainsaw, all enthusiasm and accidental carnage. And you're probably thinking, Theo, were you secretly mad when I called you out? Nah, man, I appreciate the honesty, like a good back scratch on a sunburn. It hurts so good. And I know, sometimes I was holding in a full-blown toddler tantrum during the show, but hey, sleep deprivation's a torture method for a reason. It turns you into a grumpy raccoon hoarding shiny objects. And I gotta give it to you, you had this zen-like ability to just chill, even when I was being a grade A knucklehead, which made me wonder, were other folks mad at me too? It's the not knowing that kills you, like being stuck in a room full of mannequins. Are they judging me? Are they planning a revolt? Who the heck knows? But that restraint, that poker face, it's a superpower, useful for business negotiations or poker, which, let's be real, I'd be terrible at. I'd be like a toddler playing with dynamite. All clueless enthusiasm, showing my hand with every goofy grin. But my dad, bless his heart, gave me the best advice for dealing with those situations. He said, son, if you don't like what someone's saying, just shut your trap, let them talk in absolute silence. And they'll crack like a walnut under a sledgehammer. They'll start backpedaling, offering you the moon just to break the tension. 'Cause people hate silence more than they hate Brussels sprouts. It's a powerful weapon, that's silence. And I realized, days, that's what he did to us kids when we wanted to watch R-rated movies. Can I see Rambo? Silence. Are you still there? Uh-huh. More silence. And boom, bedtime foiled again. So when my time comes, I want my eulogy to be real. Flaws and all, someone gotta say, Theo loved life, he really did. Like a Labrador with a tennis ball, pure unadulterated joy. And sure, I'm speaking in the past tense, but hey, I'm still kicking, thanks for that by the way. And if I was at your funeral, the thing I'd say, well, that's the next question, ain't it? It reminds me, you said like folks is happy for my success because you know it's deserved and because I'm a good guy, and I was always so supportive of others, especially at SNL, and you said I had impeccable comedy taste, which is kind. You think all this time at gas stations and backwoods bars gave me tape. You said my kind words are gracious, and boy, my life's been richer since I met you, and you recommended me for that writing job, which means I owe you for changing my life. Like Werner Herzog said, I don't know if people change each other's lives, but you made my life better. It's like being a comedian picking up rocks on the ground, and you said, do you want to go to the moon? And I love every conversation we have, but the last question, it's ever seen a ghost? I ain't seen no ghost. Maybe I should start asking that at parties. Picture this, a high school kid at a dance, all awkward angles and nervous energy, sidles up to a girl, stares intensely and whispers, you ever seen a ghost? Is that what girls want to hear? Would that be enough to seal the deal? Cut to them making out. That's a romantic comedy right there. No, I'm normally at a rando table, and I ask and find out a dead person whose soul or spirit is ghoulish and haunting, which is a terrible icebreaker. And I say, how is everyone? You ever seen a ghost? And folks think it's me and I'm the ghost. They say you have now, and it's all weird like that. So maybe that's the end, and we should end with the cast of Sneakers again, like we got it right this time, or wait for it, the sequel.
All right. Settle down, folks. Let me tell you something. Growing up in Tickfaw, Louisiana, we didn't have fancy stuff like, you know, indoor plumbing that worked all the time, but we had Mama's chickens, bless their pea-sized brains. And one time, this rooster, old Cluck Norris, he was meaner than a junkyard dog with a toothache. Anyway, Cluck Norris decided my head was prime pecking real estate, so I'm running, screaming like a banshee, and Mama's yelling, boy, you gotta assert dominance. Show him who's boss. Now, I ain't never been good at bossing nobody except maybe my goldfish, Bubba, rest his soul, so I figured, all right, I'll try it. I square up to Cluck Norris, puff out my chest like I'm trying to audition for a Chippendale show at the VFW, and yell, I'm the boss. Cluck Norris just stares at me, cocks his head, then bam, pecks me right in the dang eyeball, and I'm thinking, this is exactly how my dating life's been, right? You try to assert yourself, be all confident, and some rooster of a situation just comes along and pecks your eye out. It's like that comedian, what's his name, Sam Burrell?
Heard he won some laughing skull thing. Bless his heart. Sounds like something you'd find on a backwoods roadkill menu. Anyway, the point is, dating is a train wreck, I swear. Talking to this girl the other night, sipping my bourbon, and I ain't sharing, mind you, bourbon's like sunshine in a bottle. Only tastes like regret the next morning. She says, that'll put hair on your chest. And I'm thinking, dang, gotta make sure I ain't growing no unexpected fur before I get intimate. Like checking the oil in a beat-up Ford pickup. You just gotta know what you're working with, you know? It's a minefield out there, just like that time I kissed this girl at a party, hammered out of my gourd. She says she has a boyfriend, which is bad enough, but then hits me with the double rejection. Even if I didn't, I wouldn't be interested. Lord have mercy, it's like getting rejected from a job, and then the interviewer says, and you're also too ugly for this plant. Brutal, just brutal. But hey, my last girlfriend, bless her heart, she was on Ambien, so I never had to wear a condom, which is either a blessing or a sign. I got to invest in a hazmat suit, depending on how you look at it. See, it's like that dad on the elevator with the crying kids. Should have wore a condom, probably didn't pull out. Now he's at the parent-teacher conference getting lectured. Charlie's been misbehaving. He's just got to shrug and say it's out of my hands, kind of like Cluck Norris pecking my eye. My own dad, met him 2 years ago, family-style restaurant. Ironic much. Should be broken family-style restaurants, right? You walk in, no waiter, just a note that says he left for cigarettes years ago, and for birthdays, instead of singing, they just whisper, we forgot, sorry, we'll make it up to you. And some random dude walks in and says, I don't even work here, I'm just banging the owner. It makes you wonder, you know? Never played catch with my dad, but we played an epic game of hide and seek. He's still hiding. I guess he's good at it. Saw a homeless couple sleeping in the street once. Sad, ain't it? But hey, at least he has a girlfriend. Hope he ain't hitting her, 'cause that ain't domestic violence. That's a street fight, and street fights, well, they ain't pretty. Dating someone now, I think. She stopped shaving her legs. That's how you know it's serious, right? It's like checking the tread on your tires before a long road trip. Gotta be prepared for anything. She asked me my fantasy the other night. I said, I want you to dress like a nurse and tell me I have health insurance. Yeah, pathetic, I know, but honest. The other night, things got wild. She said, fuck me like it's your job. So I started checking my email, seeing when I could clock out. She wasn't impressed. And let's be honest, I keep inside Ed's going way too long. Like texting my friend Dan, do you want to suck my penis? Only funny to me, and Dan, my girlfriend, not so much. Sent it to her by accident. Awkward Thanksgiving dinner, to say the least. I miss being single sometimes, especially dating black chicks. But, you know, that's a whole different sermon. And the N-word, well, white people created it. Black people get to use it. Kind of like Magnum condoms, big and intimidating, but not always necessary. Subway story. Last one, I swear, with a girl I was dating, pervert gets on, starts touching himself. She wants me to fight him. I'm thinking, I don't want to get hit with that hand, but she pushes me. I say, excuse me, sir, could you stop that? He says, I wasn't doing that to your girlfriend. I was doing that to you. And I'm right back to that feeling of Cluck Norris pecking my eye. You just never know what kind of rooster's going to come at you in this world, do you? All right. Settle down now, you beautiful bunch of weirdos. Let me tell you something. Growing up in Louisiana, we had this neighbor, Mr. Thibodeau. God rest his soul. Looked like a thumb with eyebrows, I swear. This man, he only ate mayonnaise sandwiches every single day. Mayonnaise. Just mayonnaise. I asked him once, Mr. Thibodeau, why are you living like this? You're a human being, not a condiment factory. He just smiled, this little thumb man, and said, Theo, boy, you got to simplify. Life's complicated enough. Don't be adding no jelly to the equation. And that stuck with me like kudzu on a rusted out Ford pickup, you know? Simplify. Which brings you to, well, everything really. See, people are out here complexifying everything. Take data privacy, for instance. Seems simple, right? Keep your stuff safe. Don't let the lizard people in Silicon Valley sell your grocery list to the Russians. But no, it's all algorithms and encryption and GDPR. Sounds like a disease you get from kissing a swamp creature. It's like they took Mr. Thibodeau's mayonnaise sandwich and turned it into a 7-course meal with foam and microgreens. Nobody even knows what they're eating anymore. So we got these companies, it's collecting all this information. Every time you like a cat video, every time you Google how to remove a tick, they're tracking it, building a profile. It's like they're trying to build a perfect replica of your brain, but with more ads for foot fungus cream. And they say, oh, it's for a better user experience. Sure it is, just like when your grandma says she's pinching your cheeks because she loves you, but, she's just checking to see if you got enough meat on your bones. And then there's the government. They want to get in on the action, too, keeping us safe from terrorists, ninjas, the Amish mafia. Who knows? But the point is, everybody wants your data, and nobody's asking if you even want to share it. That's like showing up at a potluck with only a Tupperware full of your dirty laundry. Nobody asked for that, Brenda. So what do? Do we just throw our hands up and say, fine, take my soul?
Amazon.
So I'm already wearing your underwear anyway. No, that ain't the Cajun way. We got to be like that gator in the bayou, looking all slow and sleepy, but ready to snap your hand off if you get too close. We got to demand transparency, know what they're collecting, how they're using it, and have the right to say, hold up, partner, that's my brain you're messing with. And it ain't got nothing you need unless you're looking for directions to the nearest crawfish boil. Because at the end of the day, your data is your data, just like your mayonnaise sandwich is your mayonnaise sandwich. Unless Mr. Thibodeau comes along and asks for a bite, then you just got to share because he might be a thumb with eyebrows, but he's still your neighbor, and that's just how we do these in Louisiana. Man, growing up in Tickfaw, Louisiana, population smaller than a Walmart on Black Friday, we had this neighbor, Cletus. Now, Cletus, bless his heart, thought squirrels were just rats with better PR, and he swore he could communicate with them using only kazoo music and moonshine fumes, which, looking back, might explain a lot about Cletus's life choices, like the time he tried to ride a gator into town, claiming it was his Uber anyway. That whole Cletus situation reminds me of this article I read the other day about how AI is supposed to be like revolutionizing customer service, right? Promising us these seamless, efficient, emotionally intelligent interactions like a customer service rep that never sleeps, never gets hangry, and never needs a bathroom break. Unlike my Aunt Shirley after a potluck, which can get dicey, but then you actually use these AI chatbots, and it's like talking to Cletus after he's had a bit too much of that squirrel whisperer juice. You ask a simple question like, where's my package? And it responds with something completely off the wall, like the meaning of life is 42, but have you considered the existential dread of being a digital assistant? I swear I asked one chatbot about my phone bill and it started reciting Shakespeare. Now Shakespeare is all well and good. I like a good sonnet as much as the next fella, but I just needed to know why I was being charged for data roaming when I was sitting in my own darn living room. But these chatbots, they're just going on about to be or not to be, and I'm like, to be connected to Wi-Fi or not to be? That is the question. Now answer me, you digital Cletus. And it's supposed to be getting better, but it's like teaching that gator to drive. You might get it to move forward eventually, but you're going to have a lot of fender benders and a few folks ending up in the bayou. And I'm just sitting here thinking, we're putting so much faith in these artificial brains, hoping they'll solve all our problems, when sometimes you just need a real human being, even if they smell like biscuits, and met their spouse on Ancestry Mingle. At least they'll understand the question, where's my damn package? Without launching into a soliloquy about the fleeting nature of existence. It's like that time Cletus tried to teach his parrot to say, I love you, and it only learned to mimic the sound of a rusty chainsaw. You get the technology, but you lose the soul. Come to think of it, is probably what happened to my Aunt Shirley after that last potluck. So, I was talking to my buddy Earl the other day. Earl's got this pet raccoon named Stinky. Swears it can predict the weather anyhow. We were jawing about comedians, right? Like, who'd be good to run for something, anything really, maybe even head of the homeowners association. The names they threw out, bless their cotton socks. Jon Stewart, sure. Makes sense, smart fella. Always got something to say. But then, bam, Bill Cosby out of left field. I mean, dang it, it's like suggesting your grandma for an MMA fight. Said something like, get him out of jail. Which, last I checked, Cosby's either too old or they already let him out. Maybe he's touring retirement homes with a Jell-O pudding show. Who knows? I even saw Cosby do stand-up at a Jon Stewart benefit thing once. Wounded Warrior Project. Before the whole pudding pop parade went south. And let me tell you, that act was darker than a black bear's armpit on a moonless less. I'm talking deep. Unsettling. You're waiting for the punchline, but it just keeps getting more existential, like watching a squirrel try to bury a nut in concrete. Now, I ain't remember the specifics, something about cough syrup and airplane food, or maybe it was the other way around. It was before the
accusations, you know, like ancient history. So we were all kind of, sure, Bill, knock yourself out, thinking it was just regular old comedy. But now, looking back, that performance was a straight up cry for help disguised as a Jello joke. And that's the thing about comedy, ain't it? It's like a canary in a coal mine. You can sense when someone's in a dark place, kind of like Earl's raccoon Stinky when it starts hiding all the shiny objects right before a tornado, just a little unsettling feeling deep down in your gut that something's about to go sideways.
All right, y'all. So check it. Growing up back in Louisiana, we had this neighbor, Mr. Thibodeau, smelled perpetually of boiled crawfish and regret, always hollering about politics, right? He'd be out there in his wife beater, swamp cooler, humming louder than a gospel choir, ranting about Bernie Sanders. Only he called him that dang commie Bernard. You know, like he knew him personally. Like they shared a po' boy back in 72, maybe at a political rally for the Band-Aid on Forehead Society. Who knows with Mr. Thibodeau, the man once tried to pay for groceries with a handful of cicadas, claimed they were legal tender after the apocalypse. Now Mr. Thibodeau was convinced he and Bernie were practically blood brothers back in Vermont, called themselves the Burlington Three, swore they blew up the original Burlington Coat Factory, which, let me tell you, in rural Louisiana, that's like claiming you burned down the Library of Alexandria. Nobody knows what you're talking about, but it sounds significant. He'd be hollering about occupying Walgreens, hating the 1%, while simultaneously chugging whole milk like it was liquid gold. The man was a walking contradiction, a true bayou enigma, and he hated those right-wingers. Except for Dick Cruz said his face looked like the whole Dick Tracy movie smushed together. Which I gotta admit is a visual. It's a strong visual, like a Picasso painting made of police sirens and misplaced anger. It reminds me of when I told Trump a joke once. Now he's just one McDonald's burp away from ending the world, so maybe I'm like the art critic who passed on Hitler's paintings. You know, just trying to pursue Plan B. I'm part of the problem. But man, I was watching the Emmys, right? Saw they handed an award out, totally unexpected. Kind of like finding a $10 bill in your old jeans. Pure unadulterated joy. Before the name was announced, you're just sitting there thinking, why do we do this yearly? This just seems silly. Then you hear your name, man. It's like, this is true love. I saw a comedian, and I'm lucky enough to know them. Dan Lavey was there. It's genuinely happy, like a Catholic and a Jew. Hearing good news at the same time. One is blown away, and the other is just waiting to see how they can make money off of it. Bam, we're just part of the mom package, ain't it? Like, I still get yelled at sometimes. Feels like I'm 8 years old hiding firecrackers for mama. And speaking of things you don't see coming, I got straight up attacked in Burlington, Vermont this year, which is like getting mugged by a yoga instructor, you know. Places like Birkenstocks and kombucha explosions. Everyone's blissed out. I thought I was safer there than in my own refrigerator, honest to God. Bernie Sanders could be the mayor of Niceville. That dude makes me think of when I'm arguing with a woman, because I just know it won't work, but I've just got to lay my ideas on the table regardless. So post-show, I'm chilling with some funny folks, couple of beers, 2 blocks from the venue, when this fellow approaches and you can just smell the crazy like a raccoon that's found a can of hairspray. Something ain't right. He glares at me and goes, University of Vermont. I'm like, nope. He says, master's degree? I go, you're colder than a penguin's pecker. Then he shouts, I want to beat the shit out of all of you. But he's eyeballing me like I owe him money. I gave him the once-over. Figured he was all bark and no bite. Like a chihuahua with dentures. Big mistake, because I turn to walk away, and bam, he grabs my shoulder and smashes a pint glass on my dome like he's trying to make some dang glass blown. Turns out I misread the situation. Turns out I'm about as perceptive as a woodpecker looking for a car dealership. Now this dude bolts. Cops get called, and before they even hang up, I'm hollering to the bar, did y'all hear him call me Jew boy? And everyone's like, nah, Theo, we missed that. And suddenly I feel like Jussie Smollett's cousin or something. So they nabbed the guy, wasn't exactly an Olympic sprinter, and they got him crammed in the back of the cruiser. The cops are picking glass out of my hair, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure I was starting to get carded for less. And one of them asked, hey, smash a pint glass on your head. I said, could have been a pint. Could have been a whole darn menorah, officer. It all happened faster than a fart in church. All right. Then he's asking if I see spinning, and I'm all like a dreidel partner. It was a rough night. Felt like I was trying to parallel park in a hurricane. Finally, I had to fess up. Wasn't a hate crime, just some feller with a bad case of the stupids. They haul him away, and the bar manager turns to me all serious and says, just so you know, this never happens here. And I'm thinking, yeah, I figured it'd be pretty wild if they were like, oh, that's just Scott. Scott does that. Don't mind him. All right, so I went down to pick up my boomsticks, right? 2 of them. Kind of like that time me and Earl tried to catch a greased pig at the county fair. Only way more mowers. Had a shotgun too, but busted it the first day. Bless its heart. Thought I was getting that ka-chunk model, the one like in them westerns, but the fella done sold me the punt. Like a disappointed fart, you know? So I get there. This dude, Kevin, looks like a librarian who wrestled gators in his spare time. Tells me, Theo, brother, can't give you your pew-pews. I'm like, say what now, Kevin? He drops the bombshell. Paperwork's all jacked up. Bills in your wife's name, trucks in the company's name. You're a ghost, son. Now, I started cackling like a hyena at a Tupperware party because all I could think was, damn, the system actually works. Felt safer knowing I couldn't get my hands on those things than if he just handed them over like candy corn at Halloween. Told him straight up, Kevin, this is beautiful, like seeing a squirrel water ski, but he just stared at me dead serious and said, oh, you're getting your damn guns. Suddenly felt like I was eating grits with a fork. Something just ain't right. Turns out Kevin, bless his heart, had a workaround. Called up my lovely bride. Told her to print out a blank lease. Write that I was renting a broom closet from her. Fax it over. And bam, problem solved. She about died laughing, said the place was booked solid with her imaginary yoga instructors. But she sent it anyway. Gotta love that woman. Got my guns. Love him like a stray dog. Loves a belly rub. See a gun, the movie. I'm calling Kevin faster than you can say sweet tea. Like when I off-Y, Agent Smith rocking that Desert Eagle. I had to have it. Kevin said California ain't playing that 50 caliber game, but he'd hook me up with a 40 and a workaround, bless his soul, and then tried to upsell me on an AR-15. Now, I ain't saying I'm irresponsible, but I did lose my Glock in the shower for 9 days. Felt like I'd lost a tooth or something. My wife, bless her heart, heard AR-15 and came storming in like a honey badger on bath salts yelling, is that some bitch trying to sell you another one of them? Killing machines. I told Kevin I ain't gonna be part of the problem. I'm gonna be the dang solution. No more lost guns, no more scared kids, just my Desert Eagle and a shotgun. She says that's the man I married, like I just cured cancer or something. Kevin asks if he's on speaker and then proceeds to tell me, in the event of an apocalypse, an AR-15 is the only way to protect my family. Like, Civ 6 are gonna give a dang about my southern charm. I couldn't help myself, I swear. I asked if he could get one with a bump stock. My wife promptly canceled my lease faster than a catfish can swallow a cricket. Guess I'll be sleeping in the doghouse with old Blue tonight. All right, so growing up in Louisiana, right, we had this kind of swampy, murky creek behind the Winn-Dixie, and my pops, bless his heart, thought it was the perfect place to teach me how to swim. Now, I was like 7, maybe 8, all elbows and knees, scared of everything that wasn't a crawfish boil. And I told him, Dad, I can't swim. I ain't got no swimming skills, just my natural charm. He just looked at me, this kind of squinty-eyed look, like I was speaking another language, and goes, boy, you got 2 arms, 2 legs, and a heartbeat. You can swim. Get in that damn water. No instructions, no floaties, just pure, unadulterated Southern logic. He just picked me up like a sack of potatoes, chucked me into the deep end, 7 feet of Louisiana gumbo. And let me tell you, folks, I went down faster than a politician's approval rating after a scandal. I'm flailing, gasping, swallowing half the creek, thinking this is it. This is how I meet my maker. And all I hear is my dad yelling, don't you dare drown, you little varmint. I ain't paying for no funeral. Like, seriously? So I doggy paddled my way to the edge, coughing up creek water and broken dreams. And the whole ride home was just silent, awkward. Like a possum at a debutante ball. All right, settle down, y'all. Let me tell you something, my cousin Ricky, bless his heart, he used to try and catch squirrels with a butterfly net, right? butterfly net. Said he was going to train him to pull a little wagon like a gosh darn miniature Clydesdale team. And I'm sitting there thinking, Ricky, you're about as likely to train a squirrel as you are to teach a possum to play the banjo. But hey, that's Ricky. Reminds me, people laugh at folks' imperfections, their little stumbles and bumbles, you know, physical flaws, things you can see plain as day. And yeah, it's funny sometimes, like when I tried to wear Crocs to a wedding. Hilarious. Disabilities, that's a whole different ball game, ain't it?
Hmm.
Most ain't funny, especially the ones that end up on quilts or those 10K runs. Those are straight up tough, no joke about it. But then you got these weird situations, these curveballs life throws you, and you got to ask yourself, is that funny? And let me tell you, I got 3 examples that'll have you question your entire existence. First, foreign accent syndrome. You hear about it? Folks get bonked on the head, bad car wreck or something, wake up talking like they're from freaking Belgium. It's not funny, the head bonk part, but the accent? Oh, brother. And try not to giggle when you see a fella from Alabama suddenly sounding like he's running a trattoria in Naples, saying something like, the tractor, she's no working no more. If that ain't funny to you, you need to check your pulse, friend. But the real kicker, British lady, never left her town for 33 years, gets in an accident, wakes up talking with a Chinese accent. Chinese? Suddenly she's all, hello, I have no conversated with you over many moons. You want a cup of tea? Do you hear what I'm saying? Tell me there ain't a god with a seriously twisted sense of humor. And don't get all woke on me, it's a white lady. It's like she ordered the wrong accent on Amazon. But look, that British lady, she can say what she wants, maybe even start offering happy endings with that tea. Who knows? All right. If you're still stone-faced, how about this? Persistent genital arousal disorder? Basically nonstop, you know, every 90 seconds. Imagine trying to hold down a job like that. Trying to sell someone a used car. This baby's got low mileage. Bam. Or getting groceries. They can't get any peace, any calm. It's just a mess. It's just, can I try on this shirt? Forget the shirt. I need new pants. And some poor soul's got both those afflictions. Can you imagine? Sorry to hear about your dad passing away. Ooh, that feels good. I just made that up. Maybe not funny to you, but I'm rolling with it. Still not convinced? Tourette's. My 5th grade Catholic school. New kid walk in on a Wednesday mass day. Priest starts, in the name of the Father. Kid, infant yells, fuck your cunt. Silence. Priest keeps going, Holy Spirit. Kid again, lick my balls. Fuck you. I'm dying. Trying not to explode. Kid next to me whispers he's got Tourette's. It gets old. But never got old. Best 3 years of my life. Especially the substitute teacher. They didn't warn her it was biblical. Saw a 10-year-old shatter a grown woman's spirit. Poor lady walks in, read chapter 3. Tick starts building. She's like, what's going on? He starts painting his own shirt with markers every day. She didn't know. Then he does his face. She's like, stop that. He goes, you bitch, fuck you. She's breaking down what's happening. They're like, that's Kevin. Why are you crying so much right now? She died inside, quit teaching, but she's fine, you know? Probably selling candles on Etsy now, telling folks the scents are inspired by inner peace. The important thing is just look for the joy, or at least try to find the humor even when it's dark. It's a midnight deer stand or something. Man, I swear growing up in Tickfaw, Louisiana was like living inside a fortune cookie written by a squirrel on meth. Remember old man Bergeron, who swore he could predict the weather by smelling his elbow? Yeah, well, he also tried to teach me how to hypnotize chickens. Said it was the key to getting rich. Turns out all it got me was a peck in the eyeball and a healthy respect for poultry's ability to resist mind control. Which brings me to this mortgage lender I met at the VFW last night. Looked like he just stepped off the set of Downton Abbey after a particularly rough shrimp boil. Kept saying I as well after every sentence, like he was narrating his own impending doom. And let me tell you, the man needed a drink like a catfish needs a crawdad. Kept slurring about another collapse of our time and how plaid shirts were the only thing holding society together. Made me think, you know, maybe Bergeron was on to something with those chickens. Maybe they knew the whole damn system was about to go belly up and they were just refusing to cooperate. Maybe that's why the economy's always on the verge of imploding, because we got a bunch of folks making decisions who'd rather be slapping the table and talking about I as well, instead, you know, figuring out how not to bankrupt the whole damn country. So yeah, maybe the next time you're looking for financial advice,
skip the banker and go find a chicken. At least you'll get an egg out of the deal.
Man, Spokane, it's something, ain't it? Reminds me of my cousin Earl back in Tickfaw, Louisiana. Earl was so slow, bless his heart, he thought a quarterback was just a fancy word for a homeless fella sleeping in a football stadium. But Earl, he had heart just like this crowd here tonight. Y'all are sticking with me, even though I feel like I'm wrangling a herd of feral cats up here. I swear I went for a run earlier trying to clear my head. Ended up near the bus station, which, let me tell you, is like a meth convention with pigeons. Got my cardio and dodging folks higher than giraffe butts. And this table here, they're giving me the stink eye like I just served them a plate of roadkill possum. I saw them shaking their heads like 9 times. I got a sixth sense for that kind of thing. Maybe they didn't Google, which is my favorite. People show up thinking I'm going to be all Mr. Rogers in a sweater, then bam, dead baby jokes galore. And they're all like, well, this ain't for us. Like they wandered into a cockfight by accident. Who does that? I ain't never gone to a movie blind. Like, whatever's planned. It'll be a spiritual experience. That's wild. And you brought your friends. Like, hey, y'all want to see this comedian I found under a rock? Now your friends are reconsidering the entire French, feeling like they've been dragged to a hog killing after prom night. I'm killing for maybe half this crowd, which statistically makes this the worst audience of the entire weekend. But hey, it's a holiday show. I'm getting paid that sweet, sweet holiday dough, so I can't complain too much. Spokane, bless your hearts. Y'all buy tickets, but then just stare at me like I'm explaining quantum physics to a chicken. You laugh at the pedophile joke, then you get all judgmental. It's a good joke, people. What do you want? For real? What were you expecting? You ain't the best audience member neither, pal, and this ain't even a good crowd, so you're officially the worst of the worst. Congrats. Your husband there, he probably hates that joke too, but I like him better than you, truth be told. I had more fun dodging needles and crazies at the bus station. At least that was a challenge, but honestly, at this point, watching me completely lose my mind on stage is better than the material. How often do you get to see a fella with a Netflix special completely unravel like a cheap sweater at a biker rally? That's something, ain't it? I'm genuinely shocked y'all are still here. I'm actually impressed. Makes me kind of proud. Kind of like watching a 3-legged dog try to win the Kentucky Derby. You ain't gonna win, but damn, you got heart. And sometimes that's all that matters, except maybe a bottle of whiskey and a good cry later tonight. Think I'll go see if Earl's free. Man, I remember growing up back in Louisiana, we had this neighbor, Cletus. Bless his heart. He thought he was a professional frog giggler. I swear wore camo overalls every bend day, even to church, which, you know, kind of makes sense because you're already halfway dressed for baptism, right? Anyway, Cletus was always going on about the greatest fears of frogs, like they were sitting around a lily pad confessional booth, spilling their guts. And that's kind of how this whole thing started. See, I was doing this special, right, with like 15 kids, little ankle biters between 8 and 13. And I thought it'd be hilarious to write jokes from their perspective. Like if a bunch of mini Maz were suddenly dropped into my life running around quoting Mitch Hedberg and trying to bum cigarettes. But my pal America Sawyer, who used to sling jokes at SNL, she was all about getting real, you know, asking the hard questions, the kind of stuff that keeps you up at night. Like, is mayonnaise an instrument? Or why does the alphabet have to be in that order? So we figured, let's ask these kids what they're afraid of, expecting the usual boogeyman, maybe a rogue Tickle Me Elmo incident. But then, bam, they're talking about stuff way beyond their years, like climate change, societal collapse, and the existential dread of choosing the wrong TikTok filter, which, honestly, I understand. That shit's terrifying. I swear it was like eavesdropping on a tiny philosopher's convention. Suddenly, Cletus's frog fear theories didn't seem so far-fetched. One kid even said he was afraid of running out of V-Bucks. I swear to God, I almost choked on my LaCroix. It was like, these kids ain't scared of no tarantula. They're worried about digital apocalypses and the impending doom of dial-up internet coming back, which, I gotta admit, that's a legit fear. But then you see them all dressed up in their little suits and gowns at the premiere, demanding black tie like they're running the damn Met Gala. And you realize they're still kids, just with slightly more sophisticated anxieties. And then, of course, there's the Alanis Morissette cover, You Oughta Know, but just the appropriate parts, which, yeah, maybe my mistake for not realizing those parts might not be the best choice for a child to say, or that time when I was asking him to fill in the blank. America has a lot of work, and this kid, little Alex Bello, without missing a beat, says work to do, and you're like, damn, even the kids are woke now. I ain't got no kids myself, never wanted them, and I even had a whole conversation with these kids about it, explaining how I love my free time and my wife. And then the next day, my wife shows up on set, and this one girl, Camille,
bless her heart, turns to me and asks, dead serious, does your wife know you don't want kids? And I'm like, well, shit, maybe Cletus was right. Sometimes the scariest monsters are the ones you ain't expecting.
All right, so let me tell y'all something. Right back in Louisiana, we had this one rooster, okay? Real mean fella. Name him Dr. Phil, because he'd peck at you and then act like he was giving you advice. He didn't ask for, you know? Anyway, reminds me, I went to the doctor the other day just for a checkup, figuring I'd get the usual, you're fine, except maybe lay off the boudin. But this ain't no regular doctor. This dude's like if Dr. Phil, the rooster went to medical school and failed out, but they still gave him a lab coat.
And I'm talking, walked in, didn't say howdy, didn't say bless your heart, just pointed at my head and says, you want something for that hair? Like I'm growing a chia pet on my scalp that nobody told me was dying. Then slams my chart open, makes this whoosh sound like he just opened the gates of hell and goes, wow, like I just confessed to eating a whole family-sized bag of Doritos in one sit-in, which, all right, maybe I did, but that's between me and the good Lord. Then he's all 200, not exactly weight loss, like I'm trying out for the goddamn Olympics of skinny. I mean, I'm a huggable fella. All right. So then he starts on my blood work, says my muscle enzymes are through the roof. And I'm thinking, hell yeah, I'm strong as a gator wrestling a pickup truck, but he tells me that's bad. Only explanations are Olympic athlete or a cocaine addict.
Now, I ain't never touched the devil's dandruff, but this fella looks at me like I'm Tony Montana in overalls. And when the nurse chimes in suggesting marathons, he just looks at me up and down like I'm a busted lawnmower, no sympathy. I swear I felt like a prize pig at the state fair, just waiting to get judged. Then out of nowhere, he asks if I'm married, and when I say yes, he's all to a guy. Like I gotta explain my love life to this dude poking and prodding at me, writes gay. On my chart, I mean, what in the sweet tea hell is going on? My wife asked if I'll go back. I said absolutely. He's the funniest doctor I've ever met. I mean, I just have to go back and show him my real muscle, the one that opens a jar of pickles after 3 days in the fridge.